surely on the wall. Miliona following Westmead Hawk lunging late. He's got there again. He's an icon. He's fantastic. He's superlative. He is Westmead Hawk. There's only one winner of this year's Greyhound Derby. It's some picture. Bennigan Jabuki. Oh, Charlie Lister's 5th ever Derby winner. The Trap One Hoodoo goes out the sky to Taylor Sky. Unbelievable. The young dog, Sanders Jack for Charlie Lister. Magnificent 7. Breathtaking. Marvellous scenes. The Wildcats done it. A fairy tale for connections.
And Dear Jet Sydney has won it. Thorn Falcon wins for the Two Dragons and a Lion. But Romeo Magical has won the Derby. It's going to be Daytime Nemo.
Delardi-Dar leads it for home off the corner, striding clear from Churchfield Centre by Iman. Delardi-Dar wins the Derby.
Seen that 5 times now, and every time I get goosebumps. We are here at Toaster, looking absolutely phenomenal in the evening sunshine. We're ready for night 2, round 2 of the Star Sports and TRC English Greyhound Derby. We are gone to the Dogs Live. I am Danny Jackson, as always, and my co-pilot tonight is Jonathan Kay. JK, how are you?
I'm in great form, Danny. That whets the appetite brilliantly, doesn't it? I think it's been a fantastic Star Sports TRC English Greyhound Derby so far. I think it might really go into orbit tonight.
Oh, I can't wait. I do hope so. I'll tell you what, we'll have a look, though, and whet the appetite a little more, I think, because we're going to look back at last night's action.
Heat 1 of the second round of the Greyhound Derby, and we're away and racing, and a good level line from 5, 3 and 2 into the turn. It's Tefil Tarquin up on the outside, but pushing his way through, but hitting the front and kicking clear now. Tefil Tarquin going on. It's going to be a blanket for the minor medals. It looks like Sunnyside Broxy may just have got in front of Barnett Bear, but Tefil Tarquin, he was impressive again. And they're away and racing, and a flashy break from Bandabola Joe, who goes straight to the front with that early dash. Oh, there's trouble in behind as they turn for the judge. It's Bandabola Joe, who's around about 3 lengths clear. Delardi-Dar is closing him down, but won't get there. And Bandabola Joe is the winner, and he is officially now known as the Fawn Flash for that man, Brendan Murphy and Pat Buckley. And off and racing, and the first to show Scooby the Boss, but better early pace from That's It Jack, and Dynamic Force rather missed the kick and is now trying to work into the contest. As they swing for home now, it's Dynamic Force that's got to the front, Scooby the Boss in second, and running on late in the day was Hello Diego to qualify in third. Dynamic Force had to work hard for the victory, but his class took him to the front, and he saw it out nicely enough. Trap 3 vacant here. Hot favourite is March on Freddie in Trap 6. And they're away and racing, and bombing out the boxes is Salaken Sennen, who goes into an early lead. It is the one, Salaken Sennen, with a 2-length lead from March on Freddie, who's weaving our late passage. He stays very, very well, this Greyhound, and March on Freddie is going to hit the front close home. March on Freddie wins it, and wins it nicely in the end. From 1, Salaken Sennen, it was tight for the qualifying spot between Slick Sentinel and Antigua Kestrel. And they're away and are racing, and Droopy's Bookham gets a lively break with better early zip from Droopy's Aladdin to lead into the turn now. For home now, it's Droopy's Aladdin trying to tough it out, but here comes Droopy's Bookham to nail him right on the jam stick. 1, 2, 5 the order. Up go the Liz off and racing, and he didn't forget to come out today, did proper air rest, but he's challenged in the early stages by Romeo Tomcat, who's now hit the front from proper air rest. And as they reach the line, it is one who's going to come home in supreme isolation in the end, Romeo Tomcat. Here comes the hat, up go the Liz and off and racing, and 6 has flown out He's come out on roller skates, as Churchfield said, and quickly goes into a 2-length lead. It's Churchfield Sid who's trying to kick away from his field. Then comes Ballymac Blanco. In behind these is Droopy's Plunge, but up towards the line. Six is going to hold on. Flashing home was Vagar to snatch second from Droopy's Plunge. Back in third, Churchfield Sid has done it again, the old boy.
And they're off here. Fair Point Susie with a good start there for Graham Holland, with Deliveroo on the outside there for Ben Collins, who owns him. But it is Fair Point Susie at the first bend. Fabulous Sonique is coming, but it's going to be Fair Point Susie that's going to take this one for Graham Holland.
And this is what they are racing for, to lift that trophy. Well, not the Greyhounds, but the owners, trainers, connections of the Derby winner. There it is, 2 foot high. We measured it with a very scientific method of putting a piece of paper next to it, because apparently that's about a foot. So it's about 2 foot high, and it's magnificent, JK.
Well, it's probably about as close as I'll get to it, Danny. But, you know, it is, and it's what ground racing is all about. It's history there in the making this year as well. And look, ground racing is a very modern sport, but we must never lose our perspective of history. And just looking at some of those memories down the years, they're just brilliant. They really, really are. I love that opener, I really do. Right, we have got tonight's races coming at you from 7:10 with heat number 9, where Soleil Mio is looking to go for the double after surprising slightly last week at 6-1. Bombay Pat in the heat after. Then we get heat 12, My Nap, Sing Along Molly, and one of the eye catchers of the first round, Bocco's Diamond, is in heat 13. Then we go to the most competitive race of the night at 9:15 with 5 heat winners in there, 4 of them Irish, 2 of them for Paul Hennessy, 2 for Graham Holland. But in the mix of that, we've also got the 8:31 at Monmore, which is a bit of a big race as well, because we have the PGR Golden Jacket Final 2025. Mongees Wild, I think we saw 1-9 before, 1-4 now. 9-2 for Bombay Nutty, 7-1 New In Cloud. It's 25-1 Radical Scobie, 40s for Magical Luna, and Hacker Carlo at 50-1. Covering all the best action this Saturday night here on Gone to the Dogs Live, brought to you in association with Bet Goodwin. Right, let's have a look at the outright prices. These are the Star Sports, the sponsors' prices. Bocco's Diamond 7-2, Cheap Sandwiches 7-1, Bombay Pat 10s, De-La-Dee-Da 10-1, Ballinabola Joe 12s, Droopy's Plunge 16s with March on Freddie, and 20-1 bar those. Who's the value? I'm going to stick with Ballinabola Joe. I'm very, very keen on him. I didn't think the going suited him last night, and it was explosive early pace again. But just looking there, I think the top 3 in the market all run tonight. The 6 beneath them are already safely through. There will be a change. There will be changes in the market tonight, and all 3 at the top of the market, Graham Holland's trained runners, they've all got the chance to really put a statement down tonight. They're all going to be pretty short, aren't they? They are. So it's going to be fascinating to see what moves do actually happen. I tell you what, shall we go down to see what the Star Sports boys' kind of mood is like ahead of night 2 with Jason?
Thanks, Danny. I can tell you that it is absolutely, the sun is beating down. We're looking forward to a wonderful evening's entertainment. We're going to start with the Star Sports boys, the beleaguered bookies. I'm collecting for beleaguered bookies. No, nothing for the beleaguered bookies. I'll come and have a word with, the boss man's here, Ben Cave. But I'll go to Khan first of all. Khan, last night, dare I ask?
Yeah, not good. Not good again, Jason. It's 4-0 currently, but we go again tonight, trying to get a bit back in the odd. I'm counting, so it's a sign, but it's not going out. It's going in at the minute. We haven't had a heat.
Well, there's more there. Look, I've been collecting for you. Absolutely nothing.
Have a donation. Have a sweet.
Now, better the night tonight.
Yeah, hopefully. The best bet. Do you know what? I think this is too big. Me and Lofty both think in the first race, Slingshot Jamie is overpriced. The one could move off. But there's a few short ones again. There's 4 on shots, 3 on shots. We'll be trying to lay Cheap Sandwiches in the last. That's the one we want to get after.
OK, thanks very much for that, Con. So he's going to be, they'll be after Cheap Sandwiches. I just come over to Lofty here, and he's kind of are you same mind as Con? Cheap Sandwiches you want to take on?
He's probably the short one you want to take on, yeah, but a good spread of money for a lot of dogs tonight. If Singing on Molly wins, you might not see us here. I think we'll be carrying the joint out, and we'll definitely be going around with that cup later on. We've got her for a few quid, but she's a daft price doing 11.08 now, to be honest. I mean, you know, she was 7-2 during the week. That probably was too big a price, but 11.08, when we load her again at 11.08 as well, I mean, I'll probably look a full after that race if she goes off a shade of odds on and wins. But no, a lot better field tonight, much better crowds here. They're better the first few Grady racing and won a little bit. So, yeah, we'll touch all wood tonight, but we've got to get them beat some night, Jason, surely.
It's a lively crowd. You did well because Seamus Gorn had one of those, and I know that he was on. So, look, I know there's been a little bit of friction between us, but accept this.
Gonna give me. I thought it was.
I'm having it. £1.
I thought he was begging.
I'm away.
Yeah, they've had a bit of a battering, I think, the Star Sports boys, so they will have maybe the begging bowl out this evening as well, but we'll have to wait and see. Don't forget you can comment on the YouTube channel if you are watching and you are a subscriber. Thanks to everyone that is watching at the moment. We've already had Tommy Tinkler, he's quick off the block, said, loaded from last night's winners, back for another go tonight, folks. Well, good luck, Tommy. And good luck to you as well, JK, because we've got JK's Gems this evening.
Yeah, I'm not sure who came up with that one, but there we go. 7:10, I'm going with an early nap, Solo Mio. Race Lofty was just talking about that. I was just really taken with him in the first round. Shock winner to a certain degree, as you said, 6-1 chance. He's got Era Secundae to clear, but I just think he's looking really sharp at the moment, and yeah, happy to be with him. I've gone against a few favourites then. TJ's Chelms, I thought was really impressive in the first round. Also looked like he'd come on. Bubbly Charger, I think, will be suited by a middle draw. I didn't think Track 1 suited him last week. Droopy's Metaphor is just a huge price in a race that the draw could be crucial in, and he's certainly well drawn. Bocco's Diamond, I am with. I will, of course, be hoping that my own Trap 2, Kevin's Rocket, can at least stick onto the coattails and hopefully qualify. Droopy's Trade impressed me in the first round. Coolio Gold is a great story. Quarter-finalist last year, veteran, now looked as good as ever last week. And I'm not with the Star Boys, I'm with Cheap Sandwiches. I think, although it's such a strong heat, 4 Irish Raiders, 4 top dogs in there, I just think he's been so professional so far.
Completely agree, certainly with Cheap Sandwiches anyway. Right, let's have a look at the naps tonight. Ashley Williams, he is here doing all the social media stuff for us and Greyhound News UK as well, and Greyhound Racing UK. Aero Secundae, he is with Against Sole Mio in Track 3, so the next door neighbours with Ashley and JK. I'm with Sing Along Molly, thought she was cracking last week, staying on really, really strongly. She's in the 806, and Coolio Gold is the one for Jason, who's looking to roll back the years in the 857. So those are the naps tonight. So got a cracking night's action. Very excited to get underway at 7:10. So we're just over 10 minutes away from our opener. I tell you what, should we have a look at a couple of heats before we dive into the parade for the first race? I was going to say round then, no, that was last week. And what about the 7:28? That is heat number 10. We've got Bombay Pat in action. He's going to be very, very short for Graham Holland at 2-7. Mike even shorter. 6-1 TJ's Chelms. 12-1 bar those. And I mean, Bombay Pat, Irish Derby semi-finalist. He beat March on Freddie fair and square in the trial stakes. He won well last week. Many ticks in boxes.
Yeah, and he won well last week despite fluffing his lines at the start. He wasn't well away. My own Greyhound in 2, Kevin's Rocket, broke well. There was a little bit of a coming together at the bend between 2 and 4, and you can see the path that Bombay Pat took round the outside. Never broke stride, and I think that's always a fantastic trait in a Greyhound. He opened up in really good style along the back straight and probably went, I don't know, 3-4 lengths clear. Maybe just tied up a little bit coming home, which suggests to me that he can come on for the run. I have tipped against him simply because I thought there was value to be had elsewhere. He's very, very short for the race, but he's clearly absolutely the one to beat.
Yeah, I mean, the market says it all. He's 2 from 2 over here. He's beaten a couple of really nice types as well. Obviously, Kevin's Rocket, I'm hoping he does well for you this evening, or at least manages to get through his heat. Right, we're going to have a look at Heat 3 as well, actually. That is the one with Barefoot on Fire, who I think was a bit of an eye-catcher for quite a few people last week, wasn't he?
Oh, 100%. And the form, of course, has been frank because it was Ballinabola Joe that he was chasing down, wasn't it? And, you know, that Greyhound last night couldn't have come out and been any more impressive. Barefoot on Fire, I think Jason was saying earlier, has got this remarkable record of consistency of finishing the first 2 or 3. He's going to be just a Greyhound who's very, very hard to keep out the frame. The market has found him, though.
It has. I mean, this is heat number 11, race number 3 that we're showing, and there is the betting. Barefoot on Fire 4-6, 5-1 Bubbly Charger, 6-1 No Better Feeling, and it's 10-1 bar those. I mean, he was third in the Irish St Ledger as well, Barefoot on Fire. So one thing we do know is if he is shuffled back in the pack, he's going to be staying on.
Well, he probably came from, I don't know, 4 or 5 lengths adrift of Ballinabola Joe here. You can watch, he actually broke in front, but what we saw last night now, there's no surprise that Ballinabola Joe outsped him into the turn and opened up in great style. Now, at this point here, you wouldn't think that Barefoot on Fire was going to get within half a length, but that's what he did. He really rattled home. And, as was pointed out, there wasn't really a third. It was so far back to the third. That made the form look good. The time was good. There's really so much to like about Barefoot on Fire, but unfortunately, as I say, those horrible bookmakers have found him and put him in 4-6.
They have indeed. So there might be a few accas, I think, maybe floating around tonight that are going to be pretty short. Right, we're going to go back to Jason. He's found his first victim.
Now, I'm very pleased to say that I'm joined before racing by Jade Brand. Hello, Jade.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm not looking as cool as you in your shade.
Oh, yeah, it's a bit sunny here today. It's lovely, isn't it? So.
Now, thank you to talk to us prior to racing, because you actually got a runner, obviously, in the first, Ginger's Shelby.
Yeah, no, we got Shelby. Yeah, he qualified in third position last week. He's all about early pace. He needs to put in one of his better breaks today. You know, get to the front early and hopefully see what he can do out front. We'd just be hoping for a nice qualifying position again from him.
And there does seem to be every chance that it could get a little tight on the inside.
Yeah, it does look, you know, reads on paper that there could be a bit of trouble on the inside, and hopefully he could be lucky and take the outside there and, you know, like I said, hopefully hold on to qualify and, you know, do really well for his owner, Alan Lucas. We put him in it just for a little bit of fun for Alan. You know, he done really, really well, ran really well last week to qualify, and I'm just hoping he can go a little bit better again this week. Now,
Jade, you know me, don't you? Would you describe me as a fawning creep?
No.
Well, you will do it when I tell you this. Look, we get to pick a performance of the round, each round, and last Saturday night I chose Rapido Ali.
Yeah, you know, look, you know, we were absolutely delighted with that. You know, he ran superb, you know, to pick it up down the back straight and, you know, run home so strong to get the win. It was wonderful for everybody in the whole kennel, you know, to get that win.
And every chance again tonight. There is quite a bit of pace in the race.
Yeah, a bit of pace in the race tonight, a little bit of a harder affair for him. Hopefully he can trap out a little bit better than he did last week, which he's capable of doing. You know, and like I said, we're just hopeful for a qualifying position.
Jade, you deserve every continued success. Thanks for talking to me once more. Fawning creep and all, best of luck.
Lovely, thanks ever so much.
Got our first race lineup coming your way. Down the card, trap 1, Pain Barrier 7-2, 2 Aero Secundai 5-2, 3 Solo Mio at 6-4, 4 is Righty at 17-2, the 5 Slingshot Sam at 5-1, and 6 Ginger Shelby is at 18-1. So a short enough, not a short enough price, but a wide open race here, and this is your nap, JK.
Yeah, and Solomeo was in 1 on this occasion. It wasn't a ping start by any means. Did move a little bit middle, so I don't think switching to trap 3 is necessarily going to be an issue. And look, got really well closed down late by trap 6 March on Freddie, who, another Greyhound, who franked the form to a certain extent by winning last night. And I think trainer Peter Cronin was quoted or interviewed afterwards and said that he thought that he would come on for this run. It is pretty much a speed race. Aero Secundai in 2 has obviously got bundles of early. You know, you've got Slingshot Sam, who could easily be up there on the outside as well. I just felt that he had every chance of out-trapping his rivals from that middle draw, encourages a middle break, a good break sometimes. And that being the case, come on a little bit for the run, I thought would take plenty of beating. Also, a little bit concerned that Pain Barrier in 1 might take a middle course and do 2 no favours.
OK, so there might be a little bit of early trouble. Pain Barrier and Aero Secundai. We have got the head-on, I think, of Pain Barrier from last week, so we can have a look at how he did exit the boxes. He was in 3 here, JK.
Yeah, just watch breaking out of 3, and you can see straight away he's definitely edging across. I probably would put him in looking maybe in trap 5 by the time he got to the bend. Now, there's no absolute guarantee that that's what he's going to do from the inside berth, but it would have to be a concern. I think if Aero Secundai doesn't ping, it might be getting a dig in the ribs.
So, fascinating race. I think it's one of the more open heats of the night, certainly, to begin with. So this is when the bookies might win this one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, was it last night that there wasn't a winner outside of the front two in the market. You know, OK, there were a couple of favourites beaten, but when they were beaten by the second favourite. And reading the excellent blogs that Simon Knott does on the trials and tribulations of the Star Sports Boys, I think they're very brave to turn back up again, to be honest with you.
I know, they were definitely, well, they were scrounging for the food tokens and everything before, so...
Well, they were scrounging off the wrong man, Jason, that is for sure.
Right, we've got our first heat coming up. It is race number 9 and the parade is just about to occur. So there they are in all their glory, heading towards our cameraman, actually, so that we can have a look at them before they head out onto the track and head towards the 500-metre start. That is trap 1, Payne Barrier. 5th in the Conan Kirby Memorial, ran on behind Sid last week, and the form has been franked by Churchfield Sid last night. He's 5-1. We have trap 2, who is 5-2, and is also Ashley Williams' nap for this evening. Pall Mall winner. Hasn't been seen a lot this year, but I thought ran well for a long way last week and might just have needed the run, but does need to clear Payne Barrier on the run to the first. Trap 3, Sole Mio, surprised at 6-1. We don't get that price today. 5-4. He was second in the Conan Kirby Memorial, held March on Freddie, I was going to say Frankie before, last week. Form franked yesterday, of course. Now, there's Righty. He won on our very first Gone to the Dogs live show back at Yarmouth in September last year. Second in the Juvenile Classic 2 years ago. He hit the 3rd round last year and he's been a 3-time Cat 1 finalist since. He just needs to sit a bit handier today. Slingshot Sam, Northern Flat second. He loves it at Newcastle and I think he's taken to Toaster well. He held on in a photo, beating Burrows Eclipse last week. And trap 6 at 16-1 is Ginger Shelby. Is a consistent graded performer at Hove. Clung to a place last week in 3rd behind No Better Feeling. Needs a career best again, you would feel, does Ginger's Shelby. So favourite trap 3, Sole Mio at 5-4. And they are heading out onto the track. I tell you what, let's have a look at Slingshot Sam, I think, in action from last week. He just managed to hold on, JK.
Yeah, it was an absolute thrilling finish. You can see that it wasn't a ping break from Slingshot Sam in 4, but he paced up really well to the bend. For much of the journey, I did think that Burrows Eclipse in trap 6 was plenty close enough as a big race 6-bend finalist, but it was only really in the sort of 3/4 mark onwards that Slingshot Sam started to falter. It was nip and tuck all the way to the line, but he found enough. And you know what? The time wasn't bad, was it? 29:05.
No, certainly wasn't. And I think, obviously, he'd had a little bit of time off before that. He'd not been seen from the middle of April, so 2-3 weeks, and he's entitled to come on for that. And 29:05 would have been, up there with one of the quicker of the times last week as well. Right, we have got a few comments on the YouTube channel already. Andy Wright, loved the show and the dogs too. Jim Parker says, great to see JK back on the show. The game owes him so much, though some of the selections look like he is dart throwing.
Well, Jim likes his darts, so that's all right then.
Jay Stevens says, trap 5 to place top 3 in the first. Andy Wright's glad to see Jason back on. So, yeah, quite a few people on 2, looking at 5. There's a forecast as well, or Righty to finish in the top 3, reverse forecast 3-4 and 5-4. So quite a few on trap 5 here. Slingshot Sam, all the way for me, is a couple of comments on YouTube.
Just nibbled out in the market as well that I've seen. I thought this was a race that would probably be won by the Greyhound who led round the first bend.
OK.
Righty will be staying on, no doubt about that, and likely Payne Barrier as well. But I thought that one of the early pacers, Eros Secundai Sole Mio, or probably Slingshot Sam, less likely so Ginger Shelby, but if they made the bend in front cleanly, would take a bit of beating.
OK, so all hinges on the run-up to the first bend, potentially, in this first heat of the night. It's heat number 9, of course, of round 2 of the Star Sports and TRC English Greyhound Derby of 2025. In the commentary box this evening, as he has been for all night so far, is Mr Paul Lawrence. Absolutely cracking out the commentaries. 32 he had to do last week just on the Derby alone, and we've had a few graded races as well to warm him up before this first heat of the night. Chris Clark's there as well, just about to wave the flag as he checks them over once they have gone into the starting boxes. We're both with Sole Mio here in the first.
And the hare is now on the move. Hare runs then, stand by for a start. Hare approaches. Lids rising off and racing, and a good start on the inside from Pain Barrier, but it's the early dash from Solomeo to try and get to the front, and he does so. Solomeo now goes on from 5. Slingshot Sam, who's got round the outside of Pain Barrier, in third now. And then we've got Aero Secundai with up on the inside Righty looking to get past that rival. All trouble there at the back for Pain Barrier, who just clipped heels there. This has left Solomeo in supreme isolation, and the Irish Raider is going to go on and score nicely in the end. Solomeo wins from 4, Righty, and 6, Ginger Shelby qualifies back in third.
Nap landed. Mic dropped, AK.
Can I go home now?
Yeah, see ya.
Was a little bit concerned when Pain Barrier on the inside started as well as that, but the early pace of Solomeo was always likely to come to the front, and I was pretty confident from the first bend onwards. There was a little bit of scrimmaging at the first bend in behind, and much more so again at the third bend.
Yeah, I mean, Pain Barrier, you thought, was coming up with a run here on the inside of Slingshot Sam, but he just gets, I think maybe he's just clipped 5, hasn't he, and fallen into the lap of Aero Secundai. So 3, Solomeo just left in the clear in a time of 28.91. So that's put his stamp on the competition for night 2 of the second round. Superb effort. He's in isolation. Righty was always going to be staying on strongly. He's clinched second. And Ginger Shelby, what a cracking run from him in third.
Absolutely. Just having a look at Pain Barrier out the boxes there, you can see nowhere near as marked to the bend. Probably ends up in, what, maybe trap 2.5, trap 3. But it was relatively clean. To be fair, Solomeo was moving off a little bit as well. So I think a middle draw going forward for that one could be one to look for.
Yeah, I think looking at both of them, I mean, Aero Secundai has done what he probably never has done, which is miss the break. And I think that saved the race a little bit as well for the trouble at the first round.
You're right, because it meant that there was only really Solomeo in 3 really tearing to the bend, and they were able to go round relatively cleanly. Not so much at the third bend, but it's a very good performance for the winner. He's come forward a little bit, and I would suggest that the track might be a little bit livelier than it was last night.
Yes, I would hope so, actually, because I think we were on quite slow going last night. It's been quite warm and breezy today, so it may well have just quickened up the ground a little bit at Toaster tonight. Well, there is the winner's square, rectangle. It's not a circle.
Presentation area.
That's the one. Oh dear, I've been on the go for a long time. They are just about to head into the presentation area and pop Solomeo onto the winner's podium, where he should be in all his glory, taking heat number 9, the first on night 2 here for the Star Sports and TRC English Greyhound Derby. Jim Tate organising everybody. He's done all of the photography throughout the Derby and will continue to do so through all the rounds, and he has got his own website as well. I think if you Google Jim Tate photography, you'll find all the pictures on there. As we go back to Jason.
Well, what an impressive performance that was by Solomeo, just having their pictures taken there. And I'm going to come across and have a word with Peter Cronin. Peter, wow.
Yeah, Jason ran well, yeah, delighted with him, you know. Beautiful evening here, it's a great crowd and a great atmosphere. So I'm delighted. He's owned and bred by Aidan Comfort, you know, he's given me plenty of good dogs in the past, like, you know, and he's kind of like a little bit of the Kildare profile, like, so we're just hoping he could keep nipping away through the rounds, you know. I
was just going to say, you're a man who knows how to go very, very deep to the final itself.
Yeah, maybe not win it, but anyway, but that's besides the point. But no, he's running well, you know. So look, hopefully, touch wood, he keeps trapping like that, and you know, running, pacing up well. I think he can improve again a little bit, you know. First round maybe just knocked him a shade, like, you know. But once he gets into his stride now, I think he'll keep improving, yeah.
Ideal draw or not matter?
Yeah, he's fairly versatile, like, you know. I think 1, 2 or 3 is fairly okay for him, you know. And look, it's a good heat and there's plenty of pace inside him. And the one dog is a good dog, you know. He went to the final of the Kirby as well. So look, the Kirby form usually works out fairly well, like, you know. Yeah.
Peter, I always try to pretend I'm cleverer than I actually am. Is there a joke in the name? Because Solomeo means my son, so you can shout, "Go on, my son."
That's 2 of us now, Jason, right? But there's no, Solomeo is a song, yeah, Pavarotti's song, yeah, that's it.
Well, that's it.
No bother.
I thought I was being bright than I was.
No. Nothing more elaborate than that, yeah.
Well, that was some performance. Thanks very much, Peter. Cheers.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Result is in 28.91 for Sole Mio, 6-4 favourite. Beats Trap 4 Righty at 7-1 and 6 Ginger. Shelby is through to the third round at 25s.
Bet Clever, Bet Good Win. Proud sponsors of Gone to the Dogs. Bet Good Win, Bet Good Win, Bet Good Win.
And they're off and running and racing up towards the bend and up the junction, gets that fast start. He's up front. Here comes Airflyer trying to join in. Moral Standards already prominent in third as they go around the first two bends, and it's up the junction with a half-length lead of a 6 Airflyer. After this Moaning Lad moving up on the outside of Moral Standards as they come down towards the second last bend. It's Airflyer just going on. Moral Standards slightly crowded up the junction, trying to renew an effort. It's Airflyer from up the junction. Moral Standards and Moaning Lad. It's Moral Standards getting up in the closing stages. Moral Standards wins the Daily Mirror Sporting Life Greyhound Derby for 1994. What a wonderful performance from Moral Standards, trained by Tony Meek. He scoops the prize, £50,000.
Now we are having a Greyhound Derby fundraiser, raising money for our partner homing centres. Use that QR code to donate now. Just point your camera phone at it, take the, well, not take the picture, but load up the QR code and you can donate to our Greyhound Derby fundraiser. I think last week in the first round we raised £1,100. I say we, Gail May and her colleagues are doing a fantastic job. We had Eric, her retired Greyhound, in the studio with us last week, and he was doing his bit, and I think he was cheering on Tiffield Tarquin last night, so that was a heartwarming bit of footage that Ashley Williams got for us yesterday evening. Right, let's go back to Jason.
Well, there you can see a flag there, a Crystal Palace flag, but have we got any Crystal Palace fans here? Well, perhaps. I think one of the biggest ones around. It's Graham Box. Graham, also owner of Bocco's Diamond, incidentally. Fantastic.
Yeah, what a day. It doesn't get much better than that, does it? Looking forward to Diamond following in now.
And you and Bev, of course, you've got your shirts on. You had the chance to go to the final and you gave it up. Dogs came first.
Yeah, Diamond came first. Sad, really, but the dog came first.
Yeah, the dog came first, and you managed to watch the game, though, and for those that don't know, you own a pub as well, a real Crystal, and there'll be lots of celebrations going back there tonight.
Yeah, we own the Paulson's Arms right near Crystal Palace football ground, and yeah, it's going to be packed in there tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, you'd be moving as fast as the players because you were moving too quick for the cameraman, but he's got it in now then. But Bocco's Diamond as well, I mean, obviously, Ireland was fantastic. You've come over here as well. First two rounds, what do you make of it?
Yeah, he's just starting to come right, getting used to the place. Tonight, we're hoping he's going to take off. I think he'll lead round the bend and, well, he'll be gone. Put a time on the clock.
Be honest, great. Yeah, when you saw potentially what it could have, I mean, obviously you're there to beat everyone, but you know, you want to have a decent round. When you saw the lineup for the second round, you couldn't have been too displeased.
No, I thought it was a brilliant draw. Avoided a lot of the early pacers, and our boys full of early pace. So yeah, we couldn't be more happy with the draw.
Two questions. What odds did you get on Crystal Palace to win the FA Cup?
40s, and then we went in again at 16s.
Three questions, in fact. Where did that extra 10 minutes come from?
I don't know. Fergie time.
And now the honest one. Can we just look Graham straight in the eye?
Yeah.
Straight in the eye. Should your keeper have been sent off?
No.
Best of luck tonight, Graham.
Thanks very much.
Well
Have a good
done.
night.
Graham Box there, thrilled that his team have won and hoping that his Greyhound can do the same. And I think he probably will tonight.
Well, that is quite a thing to give up, isn't it, going to an FA Cup final? But it shows you how important the Greyhound Derby is. And look, Bocco's Diamond, the minute it was said that he was coming over here for it, and it's been a long-term aim. We've known for, 3 or 4 months he was coming over. He came over in the juvenile, ran a brilliant race in defeat, was really given a good race, a good blowout in the first round. And I won't take offence at what Graham said about his draw tonight. He's got a perfect heat. The stage is set for him this evening.
Yeah, I think we could see something special from him this evening, but we've got to wait a little longer because we're about to head away for heat number 10. This is the lineup, but down the card, Trap 1, Slick Jamie, 14-1. 2 Salakers Tipster, 4-0, 40-1. 3 TJ's Chelms at 6-1. That is hard to say in comms, I have to say. 4 Prince Nazim, 7s. Uncle Freddie in the 5 at 14-1. And 6 Bombay Pat, 4-1 on favourite. So it's all about Pat on the outside and then just trying to find a little bit of value, maybe second or third home. But this is Bombay Pat. We saw earlier on that he just fluffed his line slightly at the start, and I think the better start, we could see something pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, he'd won his trial stakes off a 409 sectional, beating March on Freddie pretty comfortably. This time 411, but there was probably a bit more early pace in this race that you're watching now. And he just ran a very good first couple of bends, put the race to bed down the back straight, and then just tired slightly coming home.
Yeah, and you think he will come on for that run as well in this race this evening. I mean, he was the Irish Derby semi-finalist, and yeah, he's had a good couple of runs. 2 3/4 length winner, beating March on Freddie, and the time was decent last week as well, 28.81, so you might see something better. But, JK, I know you've gone with somebody different.
Yeah, I've gone with TJ's Chelms. Big money sales purchase. He was known as Mystical Jet. Came to the sales here 31st of March. I think went for £25,500. And this run that you're seeing here in the first round, I thought was top notch. I think moving from trap 2 to 3 will not be an inconvenience. He showed excellent early pace. He did get run down late by Hello Diego, who is in trap 5 here. But I thought this was also on Thursday, where the track was not the quickest. It was 20 slow. So although he's come back a little bit later on, I think you've got to make plenty of allowances.
I think you do for all of the runners on the Thursday night, because it was slow, 20 slow, maybe even a touch slower than that. But there were 2 on that card, Val Tashadelic and Cheap Sandwiches, who run absolute crackers, who are in action this evening. But this is 1 Slick Jamie, who is 14-1. Solid Irish grader. He's 1 from 2 in the UK now, and he stayed on well last week behind Slingshot Sam. Trap 2 is Salakers Tipster. Confidence boost in a graded race in A2 after a fall, but he ran a big race, I thought, behind JT Craze last week, beating only 2 lengths for Peter Harnden. TJ's Charms, good value here, potentially at 6-1. Recorded a decent trial in March, held off a strong stayer last week to win on his UK debut, because he was beating Hello Diego in the first round. And that tail's going, he's ready. Trap 4, Prince Nazim, had 8 wins in Ireland for Sean Conway, beaten by a nice puppy last week in Ballymac Peb, and he's a good battling sort here, I thought. Prince Nazim, if he's turning handy, could have a chance to at least qualify behind Bombay Pat. Trap 5 is Uncle Freddie, Sussex Cup finalist, surprised at 20-1 in a trial stakes and ran well behind the old boy Coolio Gold in round 1 when finishing like a train and going down by just a length. And Bombay Pat, Trap 6, here he is. Irish Derby semi-finalist, beat March on Freddie fair and square in the trial stakes. That form obviously has been franked from last night as well, and won very well last week to beat Kevin's Rocket by 2.5 in the fastest heat time of this field. So 4-1 on favourite is trap number 6, Bombay Pat. Right, we're going to have a look at a head-on of 1 Slick Jamie, and JK, you can tell us why you wanted to see this.
Well, I think just you need to see where he goes from trap 1. He's in trap 1 again, and you can see he definitely got a penchant for the middle at the very least. Probably won't do Salakers Tipster in 2 any favours. I am hoping that TJ's Chelms can get away from that. I think we saw in the first heat that although Payne Barry was probably taking a bit of a middle course, it's the Greyhound immediately outside that is probably the one that's most vulnerable. But look, although I'm with TJ's Chelms, I'm really not that daft. I do respect and understand that 6 Bombay Pat is the most likely winner. I just thought at 1-4, I'd rather chance 1 at a bit of a price that I think can lead.
We can see there was a little bit of money on the board for TJ's Charms. He was 11-2 on the bookie board there, and they are in the beautiful sunshine here at Toast. I have to say, I think it has warmed up, because it was rather chilly when I went out before. Don't know if I'm just a wuss, though.
Well, I did notice, I think it must have warmed, because they really did put an awful lot of water on before racing, because the conditions that Toast has had the last couple of days with quite a breeze, but hot sun when it's not behind the cloud, that's just going to dry the track out all the time. And a dry track is not conducive to quick times. Maybe they've got more water on this evening than they managed yesterday, and it might just hold together that bit better.
Fingers crossed. We will see what happens in the 10th heat of round 2 shortly. We are just about 2 or 3 minutes away from post time. We've got a few comments on the YouTube channel. Keep them coming, keep them clean. We do have a delete button that's very quick, called Kate outside. And Sole Mio, people are very happy with him. Well done, JK, says Andy Wright. Andy Wright's with trap 4 in this race. Daniel B, throwing money away likely, but in case of trouble, 134, 25p combi TriCast in this next race. Lyndon Gilbert, 6 to beat 4 and have a small win on trap 4. So 4 coming in for a little bit of support, and I think he probably will be staying on to maybe boost those forecast TriCast kind of.
Oh, I think it's remiss actually. We haven't really talked about Prince Nassim. It was a bit of a strange race. Ballymac Peb. I think you actually described the best thing that Ballymac Peb did was miss the break.
Yeah.
And then the race sort of fell into place for Ballymac Peb. Prince Nassim did all the hard work to come to challenge, but then found himself on the wrong side. It's a very, very good, solid run.
People enjoying themselves at Toaster, which is what we like to see. And, yeah, definitely more people here tonight. I think they've enjoyed the final as well in the bar downstairs, because I managed to briefly watch the penalty being saved, so that was the highlight, and then thought, that can't get better than that, and went and read my book instead. I'm waiting for the Europa League final on Wednesday.
Yeah, between those two informed teams.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they couldn't be better form, JK. Tommy Tinkler's just put a fiver on the UK to win the Eurovision at 250 to 1, so, yeah.
Good luck with that project.
Should have just given the fiver to us.
Are ABBA in it this year?
Oh, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? My dad's gone to see that hologram thing down in London, said it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's on my absolute to-do list, without a doubt. Very expensive, though.
Yeah, he said that, and he said he'd do it again tomorrow. So, well worth it if you are thinking about it. Take my dad's word for it. He loved it. Right, they're about to go behind for the next heat of the Greyhound Derby. You know, JK, I can't believe we've got more races behind us than ahead of us.
I know. I was saying that, you know, that is the case the minute that the first round concludes. You have 63 races in a Greyhound Derby, and you've had 32 of them at the end of round 1.
That's absolutely crackers, isn't it? So we've now had 41 races. Quick maths. And this is our 42nd of the Greyhound Derby of 2025. Sponsors, of course, Star Sports and TRC. Our thanks to Star Sports and the boys that have put in some shifts over the last few nights, especially last Thursday, because it was absolutely Baltic. We had to put the heaters on in here as well, so we haven't had to do that today, even though I was freezing coming in. Managed to warm up a little bit with the derby going on. Just gets you excited. I love this time of year. 6 weeks of a crazy schedule that I wouldn't swap.
Greyhound goodness.
Oh, yeah. Right, last ones are going in. Clarkey is checking them over. PL with the call.
He's happy and away with the flag, and the hare is now on the move for Heat 10. First 3 qualify for the 3rd round next Saturday. Stand by. And they're off and racing, and a bullet break from Prince Nassim, but the early zip from Bombay Pat to wrestle the lead into the first turn and go on now. Bombay Pat, the hot favourite, has a 2-length lead over Prince Nassim, and then there's a gap back to TJ's Chelms, and then an even bigger one back to One Slick Jamie. The back of the pack, we've got Suleika's Tipster and also Uncle Freddie. As they turn for the judge now, it's Bombay Pat with this 3-length cushion over Prince Nassim, who's run an absolute burster back in 2nd. And 3rd spot is going to go to the fast-finishing One Slick Jamie back in 3rd. It was a 6-4-1 order in Heat 10.
Trap 6, Bombay Pat has done the business. The one we mentioned just before the off, Prince Nassim, has come through in 2nd, and One Slick Jamie snuck through on the rail there.
Yeah, I had to feel a little bit sorry for TJ's Chelms in 3. Was never going to win, basically, after the way the traps had opened. Was in a clear 3rd, but you knew it was going to be a long way home for him. But up front, Bombay Pat was better this time.
Yeah.
Got, you know, more, but what an absolute burster Prince Nassim was running trap 4.
He really has. I mean, Bombay Pat has made every single yard of the running here, but Prince Nassim, I don't think he's ever got closer to him, but he's gone... He's just running the race of his life, probably.
Well, it's a fantastic race. I'm waiting for the time to come through. I'm sure it's going to be quick.
28.53.
There you go. Wow.
That is 9 spots off the track record.
And it's the second quickest time of the competition so far.
Indeed. Wow.
And looking at them on the run to the bend, with the exception of the Greyhound in 5, Uncle Freddie, who probably switched to the outside, it was pretty much as you were on the way to the first bend.
Which is what we like to see, because I know that we were having a look at the head-on for One Slick Jamie, and he's just managed to keep himself safe enough, I think.
Without a doubt, and that's actually helped him because he's ended up turning. OK, he's some way off the pace, even for third place, but he had a tiring Greyhound to aim at, and I did notice that he actually stayed on really strongly to the pickup. That might be one thing to note for after this competition's finished.
6 bends beckon, potentially, for One Slick Jamie, but superb effort, and what a run from Bombay Pat. 28.53. I'd like to see the split time as well. And Prince Nazim must have done a cracking time as well in second, to be fair.
Well, can I point out that it really franks the form for Kevin's Rocket?
It does? Come on, the Rocket. What's his name at home? Rocky?
Yes, he's Rocky.
We are heading to the presentation area. I forgot again what it's called. Presentation area. I keep wanting to say winner's circle. And very happy connections, I am sure they will be, for Bombay Pat and Graham Holland. We've heard from the Holland team quite a few times already throughout this derby, and I don't think it'll stop here.
No, the English derby was something of a holy grail for the Holland team, wasn't it? I think they had a bit of a relationship with Wimbledon where they stopped going for a while. They came back in the early days of Toaster, and then it's all just clicked into place.
It has, and Rachel Holland has been doing a cracking blog for us as well, Greyhound News UK. She writes beautifully and just gives us all the updates and the gossip from the kennel. So do have a look at that, because she's doing a weekly one for us right throughout the derby. As we go back down to Jason.
An incredible performance by Bombay Pat there, who just loves winning heats of derbies. Here's Nikki. Before we come to Bombay Pat, though, I heard you saying you've got Lucky Charm.
Yeah, Shauna's Jay's little girl, and she's his biggest fan. So she was here last week, and he ran well. She came out, so she came again tonight. I think she said to her mum she was coming to support Bombay Pat before their own dogs.
Oh, absolutely lovely. We'll be very quick, because I know you've got a very busy night indeed.
Yeah, we have got the next 3 races as well. So look, it's a great start for the night. He came out better tonight, and yeah, look, he's there for the next round. That's the main thing. Very pleased with him.
Brilliant, Nikki. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Now, I've just got a couple of things that I wanted to say. William Hill, of course, were doing the in-play or trading the outright booking running. They've gone Solo Mio 28s from 33s. Bombay Pat, though, 8s from 10s. After that demolition job, 28.53, 2-7 favourite, beats Prince Nazim second, 7-1. One Slick Jamie third at 25-1.
Bet Clever. Bet Goodwin. Proud sponsors of Gone to the Dogs. Bet Goodwin. Bet Goodwin.
Running then for the 1993 derby in one. Sullen Castle breaks best, but look at the pace to 3. Ringer Hustle goes right towards the bend there. It cuts up Greyhound Squire, but Ringer Hustle leading from Greyhound Squire. Larson Jarvis gone third. After these we've got 1 Sullen Castle, 6 Hypnotic Stag, and at the back is 5 Cedar Mountain. Second last bend, there's still 3 Ringer Hustle. Greyhound Squire in second. Trying to improve again is Sullen Castle as they come off the final bend. And it's going to be Ringer Hustle's derby. Sullen Castle running on strongly for second, tight for third.
So that was a cracking effort for Ringer Hustle in 93, but I think Tony Meek had done the double, hadn't he? 93, we saw 94 earlier on.
Moral Standards, yeah, went back-to-back, didn't he? And yeah, that was just a fantastic achievement. And they were the glory days in many ways, certainly for me, Greyhound Derby-wise. I never made it to White City, but I did go to Wimbledon, and Wimbledon on Derby final night in the early and mid-90s, late 90s, probably through to the early 2000s. And then again in the Westmead Hawk era was brilliant. I think we're on the way to getting Greyhound Derby back to where it needs to be.
We are indeed. Well, hopefully so. Anyway, here at Toaster, it's had a bit of a spruce up, which is always good news. Right, let's go back to Jason.
Well, I'm very pleased to say I'm joined by Craig Morris, who's got 3 runners tonight. Hi, Craig.
How you doing, Jason?
Could you have got any further up, mate?
I was trying to hide from you.
You did a pretty successful job. Droopy's Metaphor in Heat 12 took them along for a long way last week.
Yeah, he did. That was his first race since October. He had quite a bad injury, so we laid him off. Like I said, we weren't sure he was going to come back. So I was over the moon with him last week. He should come on for the run. I actually think he's massively overpriced in that race. On the makeup of the race, he's got proper early pace. If he could get up the rail, I think he's got a decent chance.
Well, there is every trouble with Val Tashadelic in 4 coming across the other runners. If you can get clear, it's, as you say, big opportunity to progress.
Yeah, definitely, because like I say, if he could lead, I think 2, 3, 4 and 5 are all better off the front, do you know what I mean? Obviously, Pat's bits will be coming home strong in 6, but if he could break and lead, he'll definitely give himself every chance.
Now, I happen to know that you're a well-brought-up man, so you would not have swore when you got 2 in the same heat, would you?
No, I didn't, actually. I was just happy to be there.
We'll go through, but first of all, Dog, I mentioned last week in our interview, I like very much Glory Lord.
Yeah, a bit of a tricky draw out in 4. He wants to be, 1 or 2 really, but there's not a lot of early on his inside. So if he could trap and get across, he'd have a heavy chance.
And that was a burster behind Cheap Sandwiches.
Yeah, that was his first race for me. So I was over the moon with him. He ran Cheap Sandwiches to 2 length. He done 28.87. If he'd done that tonight, he'd give himself every chance.
And all of yours ran well last week. Back to Black, only just picked up.
Yeah, that was his. We laid him off for a little bit. That was his first race back over the 500. So yeah, we were over the moon with him. He's an A1 minor open class dog. The lads wanted to put him in. Like I say, they feel like they won the derby, just getting through a round. So, but if there's any trouble on the inside, because Glory Lord lent off, he'll give himself every chance.
Craig, you're an absolute superstar. Now, you know what I'm going to ask. If I had a 5er, which I haven't, if I had a 5er, where should I put it?
Droopy's Metaphor. 14-1.
Excellent, mate. Best of luck.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Brilliant.
So Droopy's Metaphor got a big boost there from Craig Morris. Just got a message off Ashley, who said he's been doing some digging for me. Droopy's job is okay after yesterday's pull in the final race. I thought that was going to be quite a nasty one.
Well, that's actually probably the best news I've heard all day, so that's really good to hear.
100%. So, yeah, definitely looked worse than it was, and he pulled himself up, so that is always good too. Right, we've got our 7:46, heat number 11 of the second round. I can't believe we're up to this already. Trap number 3, Barefoot on Fire, 4-7, 4-1 Bubbly Charger, 6 is No Better Feeling, 10-1 Clonard Curly, it's 12-1 Swift Underwater, and 6 Croker's Planet is at 16-1. And the outsider, we're going to have a look at Barefoot on Fire again. This was finishing second in Heat 29 on Saturday.
Yeah, and against the Greyhound was really making waves in the competition, Ballinabola Joe in trap 6, and Barefoot on Fire just, refused really to be bowed by the brilliance of the performance that was unfolding in front of him. Probably 4 lengths down still at this point, closes all the way to the line to go down by half a length, miles back to the 3rd, just a solid run, and his profile in Ireland is so strong as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race, this one, for sure, because I quite liked No Better Feeling from last week. I thought it was a really good run. Had to ride a little bit of early trouble and managed to just keep finding and won by a length and 3/4 in the end. So I quite like that. The time wasn't phenomenal, 29.32, but I did quite like this heat from Friday. I mean, he was in trap 4 on this occasion. I actually think his how's better today in 1. You can see he's really trying to come over to the rail. So I think he might go better than his odds suggest.
Yeah, no, I would agree with everything you've said there. What I would say is that this is a quantum leap in class, I think. I don't think this was one of the strongest of the heats, but you can't do anything other than beat the Greyhounds that are around you. And it was a great 1-2 for Esther Driver, and he certainly has a good draw.
He does in trap 1, No Better Feeling for Esther Driver, who's got 2 in action tonight. So trap 3 is the favourite at 4-7. If you were looking away from Barefoot on Fire, where are you going?
Well, I've gone with Bubbly Charger.
Yes.
And the main reason I've gone with Bubbly Charger, on value grounds, but I just thought that switching to a middle draw would suit him. I didn't think that Trap 1 looked ideal for him the other day. He's probably in against a slightly stronger Greyhound than I was hoping for, but when I saw he had the middle draw, I thought, well, yes, this is good. Also, he's out the Kirby Memorial final, like we've already seen Solo Mia do well, and Payne Barrier ran well for a long way until hitting trouble. So I think he's coming out of very good races in Ireland. He's very unexposed. He didn't start racing until the heats of the Kirby Memorial. He's only going to get better. Is he going to get better quickly enough to beat a ground of the calibre of Barefoot on Fire? Perhaps not, but I do think he's a little bit overpriced. OK, so a little bit overpriced at Bubbly Charger. Is the Conan Kirby Memorial something you would have a look at always before the Derby starts? Is it a bit of a clue over in Ireland? I think it's certainly become that way. I mean, obviously it's €80,000. You're going to aim virtually all of your top greyhounds at it. There is, of course, the option then, if they're really inexperienced, that there are other races, like the Produce Stakes at Clonmel that started last night. But we see more and more greyhounds from the Kirby Memorial come over. We are. I know there's plenty of them that have come over that have gone out in the earlier rounds as well. So just waiting for them to come out on parade. We've got Andrew Baldwin, Trap Fees a certainty. Barefoot on Fire is a good thing. Deborah was just about to ask about Droopy's job. If you missed it, he is fine after a pull yesterday. VR_Callum, Come On Curly. Great programme. Thank you very much indeed. Teresa Willand, pretty much the same as well. Hi all, great coverage from the heat. So thank you very much to the 1,700 people that we have watching at the moment. If you are not already a subscriber, please do subscribe so you don't miss an episode. We'll be covering all the heats of the Derby, but we will, of course, be covering some pretty big competitions throughout the year as well, so you don't want to miss those. Derby, though, is the best, and we've got the trophy right here. I don't want to let it go, to be honest. No, I'm trying to think the last time I did see it. It's really, tell you what, it's looking very healthy. I think Mark Burridge brought it in today. It's been engraved and shined up, and yeah, the old lady is looking very good. And the trophy's not too bad either, Danny. Hey. I am getting old. Right, there's no better feeling for Esther Driver. Second in the Puppy Classic, ran a cracker against her kennelmate last week. More to come from the lad. Trap 3, Barefoot on Fire for Paul Hennessy. Third in the Irish St Ledger. Sat handy and wasn't beaten far by Ballinabola Joe last week, and that form has been franked as well. He is 4-6. Swift Underwater, I will give you a word on him. Came here without a trial, but he reached 3 Cat 1 semis as a pup. He led early last week, and he could sneak through again. He was only beaten 2 lengths by Barntic Bear. This is Trap 4, Bubbly Charger. Got bronze in the Conan Kirby Memorial. Only won once for Brendan Matthews, but he's not been out of the front 3 so far, and Tiffield Tarquin franked the form last night too. Trap 5 is Clonard Curly. Northern Puppy Derby winner. The St Ledger's second, ran on behind the champ last week, Delar D Dar, and Trap 6 has already gone off over to the other side, well, not the other side, to the other side of the rail. Been rocketing out the valley, showed a bit of early last week, and I thought did well to qualify in third. He's only a June 23, and he's been picked up by Graham Holland, which would be slightly unusual, going from the valley to the Graham Holland. Yeah, I suppose so. And to be fair, it was actually a pretty speedy race that he ran in last week. I mean, it was really unfortunate that Ballybuff Nuts had to be withdrawn. Yeah. He was due, of course, to run last night, and I think it was always going to take a good one to lead Ballybuff Nuts, who, of course, runner-up in the Maiden Derby. And so Crocus Planet's effort on that occasion was pretty solid. He will still probably need to go forward a little bit more again. You would think so, but he is a puppy, so it's not out of the realms of possibility. My value selection is shortening all the time. It was around about the 6-1 mark, I think, earlier in the day. Wow. Into 11-4 now. So I don't know if that's people literally wanting to be on him or just looking for an alternative to the short price favourites. OK, this 4's a knocking bet. Come on 4, oi oi. Trap 4 to beat Trap 1, small bet on Trap 1. So quite a few are back in your value bet, JK, and you've been right so far. Well, I've played 2-1-1, so you know, I was Bombay Pat. 50% will do. Bombay Pat was very impressive. When you hear that winning time, not surprisingly so. Yeah. I just think with a competition like the Derby that it's sometimes really important not to be too judgmental. Greyhounds are going to be at different levels as the competition goes forward, and sometimes you see a greyhound really hit the ground running in the Derby, but then plateaus later on. So it's always a case of trying to be right on the big night, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, it is. You know, you've got to get that fine balance. You know, there's a few dogs that have been on the go a lot. Then you've got La-Di-Da, who's barely had a race really in the past 6 months or so. So it is trying to strike the balance, and obviously tailored to each individual greyhound.
Well, interesting you say La-Di-Da. He won so brilliantly in the first round. In the back of my mind, I wondered whether he was, to use a horse term, going to bounce a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and actually, although he was beaten last night, I thought he ran a blinder again. So just because he was beaten last night, I'm almost marking him up for that, because he got everything right the week before. Yeah. Yesterday, he was in against a greyhound who was putting the lights out in front, and he just kept on and kept on. So sometimes you've got to delve a little bit beyond the bare form line.
I agree, couldn't agree more, because he was in the tough heat last night, wasn't he, with 3 of the fastest heat qualifiers from round 1. So he was always not up against it, but he's not exactly the flashiest from the boxes, La-Di-Da, all the time. And I think it was a bit of a freak split, 395 in the first round. And I think we saw the La-Di-Da that we've come to know and love last night, to be fair, really sticking on.
A little bit of support for the one as well now, No Better Feeling. I think 4-1 into 7-2, and I think we both think he's got a pretty good make-up on the rails.
So they're about to go in here for our latest heat of round number 2. 4-5 favourite here, trap 3. Has just eased slightly Barefoot on Fire, because people are going for the value. No Better Feeling and Bubbly Charger. Here we go.
Chris checks him over, a wave of the flag, and the hare is now on the move for heat 11 of the second round of the Derby. Hare approaches. Gates lift off and racing, and 4 gets a flashy break, and it's Bubbly Charger that leads into the turn. In front of 6, Croker's Planet, who just spins wide there and allows No Better Feeling to move up a place or 2. And down the far side, Bubbly Charger is around about 3 lengths to the good over No Better Feeling, who's showing good middle gears. Also good middle gears from Barefoot on Fire, who's just forced to check his stride there. He'll try and stay on for a qualifying spot, but no doubt about the winner. Bubbly Charger's going to go on and win it nicely. 4, 1 and 3 the order. No Better Feeling and Barefoot on Fire, who just didn't really get the same sort of break as he did last week, but he has qualified safely, all importantly, back in 3rd.
Bubbly Charger away and gone, beats No Better Feeling, who was handily drawn on the rail, and Barefoot on Fire got checked at a crucial point, JK.
Well, first of all, delighted with the way that Bubbly Charger broke, and I think that switching to the middle draw was absolutely key there. And then you're looking in behind. Where is Barefoot on Fire? Well, at this point here, I think I said to you, he'll have to get checked up at the 3rd bend, otherwise it could be close. He did just get held up a little bit, and Bubbly Charger was gone beyond recall. No Better Feeling, absolutely. What we used to say, studio forecast.
Hey.
And Barefoot on Fire rallies to safely qualify despite that troubled run.
So a good, clean run from Bubbly Charger out in front. He's pinged certainly quicker than 4:20 that we saw from him last week. I think he just sort of fell out the boxes. 28.93. I think the ground is running a little bit quicker today, JK.
It is, and just look at the path there that Bubbly Charger took to the bend. Gun barrel straight from trap 4.
Yeah, so I think he is certainly one that will fare well from the middle boxes here at Toaster. But cracking effort from Bubbly Charger for Brendan Matthews. The Conan and Kirby Memorial form coming to the fore once again. He took bronze in that competition. He's won well here after finishing 2nd behind Tiffield Tarquin, and that form's taken yet another boost for Tiffield last night. So 4-1-3 has been confirmed, and they are through to the draw next week for round 3. In fact, the draw's tonight, of course, but round 3 is next week. So the draw will be at the end of the show, because I'll be departing from here. Jason will be sliding into my seat, and I'm heading over to the restaurant. So don't switch off after the last heat, because we will be showing you the draw live, which is always good. Right, we are watching everybody come off the track.
And head towards the presentation area.
Thanks. Because I'm useless about that with that. Oh, I'm trying to upload something as well, apparently. I've pressed my... I hate these tablets. They're really useful, but I keep pressing random things because my little stylus just highlights stuff. There he is. That is Bubbly Charger. Well done, JK, with another winner on the board.
Yeah, pleased with that one. Yeah, no, I always like it when something you think wants a middle draw gets it, and it comes to fruition.
Get in track 4 for Andy Wright. I got it on at 8. Looked too good to pass up, said Demi. So superb. Well done. Quite a few people on 4 for this race. And, of course, like you say, we did get the studio forecast as well, because No Better Feeling has finished in second. Doesn't help me in the naps table, but, you know, I'll take it. They're about to head on to the winner's podium. There he is. Of course, the Champagne Club Syndicate, they usually come with quite a few members of the team, don't they?
Oh, was it the St Ledger they won at Wimbledon?
Oh, gosh.
I've never seen so many people on a winning line.
Unbelievable, yeah. I mean, what they've done, what Steve Fluin's done with the Champagne Club Syndicate is phenomenal.
It absolutely is. And, you know, and what a lot of people do is they start off in the Champagne Club with a relatively small share, and then they decide they want more. They get a bit of confidence and they go and get a bigger share in the Greyhound or a Greyhound on their own. So anything that introduces people to the sport for reasonable cost, and you're getting the opportunity to run in the very best races for reasonable cost, that's got to be a fantastic thing.
It does. Right, let's go to Jason.
Well, everybody knows there ain't no winner like a bubbly winner. Bubbly Charger! Hey! First of all, I'm going to come to Wes. Wes, brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like my first derby winner, really, in the heat. Yeah, chuffed.
And should say Steve can't be here tonight because of a 40th birthday party. It is his daughter's, not a random one. I'm going to go and speak to Damien. Damien, is that all right? Yep. Yeah. Well, no stranger to success at the derby, but any winner's a special winner.
Absolutely, Jason, absolutely. Listen, it's great to come over a second round of the derby and win a heat. You know, there's only one dog will win the outright derby, so it's nice to get a winner during the derby because it encourages more people to come back to the sport and get involved in greyhound racing. Like, we're at Toaster tonight and the facilities are fantastic, the track's immaculate, so it's derby time.
It is derby time. And, did a derby then instead of a derby. And talking about the Bubbly Club, it exemplifies that, doesn't it? Such raucous owners, love it.
Well, it does. Steve got involved with us. So Steve and the Bubbly Club's involved with us since he started running. He made his debut during the Kirby, so he only has 5 races. So to be here in his 6th race winning the second round of Derby is great.
That's right. I'm sorry, charming as you are, there's a very charming lady who was looking at me whilst I was doing the interview. I'm battling my way through. What's your name, please, madam?
Patty.
Patty, you got the most charming smile. You were looking at me there.
Oh, thank you.
Who's here? Who else is here?
Pete.
Hello, Pete.
Yeah.
Oh, why were you winking at me then?
Ian. My name's Ian.
Ian.
Andy.
Andy, I've just given the elbow to. So it was lovely to hear from you all. And can we just have one last? There's no winner like a bubbly win! Brilliant.
Oh, Jason is just different class. Absolutely love him when we let him loose. 4 Bubbly Charger, 28.93, 11-4, has beaten 1 No Better Feeling, 4-1, and 3 Barefoot on Fire makes it through to round 3, 10-11 favourite.
Bet Goodwin, proud sponsors of Gone to the Dogs.
You stop me like a red light.
Bet clever, bet Goodwin.
They're off for the 1992 Daily Mirror Sporting Life Greyhound Derby as they race up towards the first bend. 5, Siostelwa over the pace. There's been trouble on the inside, and Siostelwa goes round with Farlow Melody. A break back to racing in third. That's Penny's Best. They go down the far side. It's Siostelwa, Farlow Melody. They're locked together. Penny's Best looming up, but Farlow Melody goes on from Penny's Best and Siostelwa as they come off the final turn. And it's Farlow Melody to the roars of the Wimbledon crowd. It's Farlow Melody from Windsor Abbey's burst through to take second, but Farlow Melody, the complete greyhound, he's done it on this occasion. He's done it for the big night. Farlow Melody wins it for Matt O'Donnell.
I love looking back at the old derbies, especially because I was, 4 for that one?
Well, the worrying thing is I remember most of these, you know, and I just remember just how huge the Greyhound Derby was. And, you know, I am so encouraged to see everyone getting behind the competition this year, and all walks of life, and also some people, you know, who don't necessarily have a lot of time for each other. Everyone is getting involved this year, and that can only be a good thing.
I agree. I think I've got derby fever most years anyway. I used to come alive on Twitter for 6 weeks and then die again for the rest of the year. But I just think that we've been talking about it for so long, obviously us in the Greyhound kind of media side of things, but I think there's been a massive buzz. The Irish are really happy about it all. They've come over. I've spoken to quite a few people on the ground and they've said, you know, Toaster is looking great. It's the jewel in the crown, potentially, of UK Greyhound racing going forward. So let's hope it stays like that. Right, we are back off to Jason.
Yes, back on with Jason, but more importantly, Jason's back on, as it were, with Pat Janssens. Hello, Pat.
Hello.
Few through yesterday.
Yeah, we had all 4 through. Yeah, very pleased.
And a few more chances today. Kicking off, Heat 13, Romeo Command.
Yeah, he's a brilliant dog, absolutely brilliant. From very well last week, from a poor draw, but he's got a much better draw this week. But he's got to be up there early. There's a lot of strong runners in there, and of course Bucco's Diamond. You know what I mean? So the Derby favourite, but no, he's in good form, and fingers crossed.
And obviously knows his way round here like any.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he's been here a few times for the last few years. Yeah.
He knows his way round here like more than Kevin Boothby, I would say. Moving on to Heat 14, you've got a couple there, Romeo Empire and Droopy's Trade.
Yeah, Droopy's Trade will have to lead, really. He has to lead Romeo Empire, but Romeo Empire is very strong from halfway. Will he pick him up? Won't he? But there's a few other dogs in there who are very good. So they're both in good form. But the trouble with Droopy's Trade is he's only had a trial here in 1 race. So he should sort of more get hang of the traps and how things work. So hopefully come forward.
And finally, in Heat 16, Romeo Steel.
Yeah, it's all about early pace. He's got to come out of them traps much better. It's a very, very hard race. A lot of strong runners in there. He's got to lead and go clear, otherwise he'll be in big trouble.
Well, again, you mentioned all through yesterday, big chances tonight as well. I asked you this last week. I said, would you have dreamt of this a few days ago? And I'm guessing your answer's going to be the same. Yes?
Well, yesterday, I thought them dogs were, they all done very well to qualify when you see what happened to Barntic Bear. And yes, he's a bit of an enigma, but you know what I mean? He hit them again at the 3rd bend and he got shoveled back to 5th. But see, he lost momentum, but he never gives up and he's still qualified for 3rd. And that is what you have to do in a derby. He's still in the next round, just like all the other winners, you know what I mean? So, and the same for a Slick Sentinel and a Droopy Splunge, you know. You can't go flat out every week. They just got to finish in them first 3 and then...
Absolutely, and certainly in the Sentinel's case, he's going to get better draws than that as well.
Yeah, I would say so, you know what I mean? He's desperate to trap 6 and everything, but there's so many wide runners going through, so yeah, everybody say you can't win from the wide, but they all seem to change their mind now.
Well, you, of course, know how to win the derby. You're the man to ask, and a great chance again this year. Cheers, Pat, and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear from Patrick Janssens with a strong team this year and a couple to come this evening. We've got a cracking race coming up next. It's heat number 12. It's slightly wide open, really, but I really fancy Sing Along Molly. She is my nap of the night. Finally found one that's not odds on. We're going to have a look at Ryan Keneally's Barking Mad Betting, though, first. He was here last night. I've not seen him yet, but he's probably lurking somewhere. If you haven't seen what this lad is doing, basically, he places bets, has a look at the race, you can watch the race with him, and he either wins or loses. And at the moment, I mean, people love to watch people lose, and he's having a bit of a bad time of things. So it's making for great entertainment. So there he is, Barking Mad Betting. He's got the personality. He obviously, it hits him when he loses, but he is a professional greyhound punter, and that's his life. He loves it.
Yeah, and look, it's very, very difficult to be level-headed enough to cope with the ups and downs, because you're going to get ups and downs. We are talking about split seconds that can make the difference between lengths. You know, if you just get to the bend in time, you get round. If you are 2/100ths of a second later, you might not get round and you're in big trouble. So when you're dealing with those sort of margins, you are going to have ups and downs. It's all about being level-headed, you know, and coping with that. And yeah, if you're being brave enough to put yourself out there, I mean, you said that people, like watching people lose. Is that why Man United get such big crowds?
Right, we're going to have a look at the lineup for the next. We're going to win on Wednesday, but whatever. The 12 heat going up. Trap 6, Sing Along Molly, 11-8, 2-1, Val Tasha Delic. It is 6-1, Trap 3, Rapido Ali, 8-1, Indian Bonnie in 5, 13, Sue Hopes and Palumpa in 2, and Droopy's Metaphor is 14-1 in Trap 1. My nap for Pat Buckley, Sing Along Molly. She didn't have a look round before we saw her last week. She was in heat number 16 on Friday. Yes, she finished second. She didn't start particularly well, but she was kind of evens away, as they'd say in Ireland. She's kept a straight track on the outside. She's clearly a wide seed. But the amount of running this bitch has done late is superb.
Well, I was on Keyfield Goose, who is leading, and I was getting a bit concerned at this point. And you also just see off the last bend the inexperience, the lack of run around the track, just ran off a little bit. She couldn't have a trial because she reached the final of the Shelbourne 600, which was the previous weekend. So she's come over here and she's run an absolute blinder. The market has changed so much for this race. During the start course of the week, Valtashadelic in 4 was definitely the favourite, and Singalong Molly's been backed in for some decent prices. I just thought that Valtashadelic's draw was really, really tough. I don't think he's a ping starter. I do think he wants the rails. And you can see Valtashadelic in 1 here, and I wouldn't say absolutely hugged the rails, but certainly doesn't want to look to be much further out. And this is going to be such a different challenge today. Hope's Oompa Loompa, who's in trap 2 today, has got a bit of speed. And the greyhound that I'm tipping up at huge odds, Droopy's Metaphor, who Craig Morris, the trainer, thought was good value, he's got exceptional early pace. So there could be a lot of scrambling for racing room on the inside here, which, if you're not, you know, minded to go with one as big a price as Droopy's Metaphor in 1, I can understand the logic of everyone getting on trap 6.
Yeah, I think she's got a great chance tonight, just because you saw last week she was getting used to the track, and I think Bitches, you know, especially staying Bitches, she's going to come on for that run. I'm hoping she just sits handy enough around that first bend, because if she does, she's going to be a threat down the back. Now, there's quite a few people that are on trap 6. Jay Stevens, trap 6, get on it. With plenty of teas, so yeah, I hope she does the business.
I think Lofty from Star Sports was saying that they've just not stopped laying this greyhound, you know, at big prices, and then when the track they were laying the 13 to 8, well, now into 6 to 5.
And, oh, Pete WW just found this channel, subscribed, enjoying it. Well, welcome along. We are covering every single round of the Greyhound Derby. We're going to be doing what's called our outside broadcast from the quarterfinals onwards. That means myself and Joe Keneally will be in the restaurant over the road, and we'll have a slightly bigger show than we have this evening, with quite a few people running around. And, yeah, I can't wait, actually. Although I'm wishing my life away there if I can't wait for the quarters. Absolutely, already. Yeah.
It'll nearly be all over by then, so that's no good.
I know, don't, honestly. This 6 weeks goes so quick. Right, we are going to have a look at the parade now. Here they are. So, trap 1, we have the big price, well, 6 to 1 now, actually. Droopy's Metaphor had been off since round 2 of the Irish Derby, but was a cracking third last week and did make a fair bit of running from this draw last week. There's trap 3. Rapido Ali, who's a 2-time Cat 1 semi-finalist, has good trial times and bettered them when motoring from halfway last time. Trap 4, Valtashadelic, who hasn't made it past round 1 in 3 big competitions in Ireland, but he was impressive last week, and he's in round 2 of the English Greyhound Derby. Indian Bonnie in trap 5, Maiden Derby finalist, Blue Ribbon semi-finalist, couldn't quite hold off the attentions of Romeo Empire last week, may be vulnerable to a strong one tonight, and I hope it's this bitch. Trap 6, Singalong Molly, eye catcher the first round. We've seen a very strong finish. We'll come on for the look around the 4 bends of Toaster. Can't wait for this. I've been looking forward to seeing Singalong Molly all week.
Could you please tell me where my 14 to 1 Droopy's Metaphor's gone?
Been snapped up, JK, because you've been doing so well.
But it was 14 to 1 only literally a couple of minutes ago. I mean, that is a big move. Yeah. It just looks here as though that the money greyhounds are the ones on the flanks, 1 and 6. Less so Valtashadelic, although I'm sure that he is now getting to a price that some people think is too big.
7 to 1, he's settled that at the moment. There's a few people got a quid on the 2 dog. 2 won't be far away. Trap 2 for me, each way on the 2 dog. So quite a few coming in for the blue, which is Hope's Oompa Loompa. And to be honest, he was a bit of a money dog last week as well. He was one of the moves of the night, and he was only just denied, really, by his kennel mate, who we've seen frank the form a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I agree with that. And I want to give a mention to 3, Rapido Ali, who did the job really well, because it certainly didn't fall in Rapido Ali's lap last time when he winning the heat. He had to battle, got to the front at halfway and saw off Ballymac Tibet in good style.
There is Ryan doing his filming for the Barking Mad Betting channel. So I wonder who he's on, because I think he'll be on Sing Along Molly. I'm going to go with that because, well, actually, I hope he isn't, because he was having a bit of a bad time last night. So I don't know if it's going to be a bad omen if he is or not. But we've got plenty of people watching the show. 1,800 people. Hello, everyone. Welcome along to Gone to the Dogs Live. We are brought to you this evening by Bet Goodwin. So thanks to Bet Goodwin for letting us bring the rounds of the Derby to you via YouTube. We have got them heading towards the boxes. I tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen such a run of good weather as well at Toaster.
No, I mean, and if we end up having to have a couple of bad nights weather, please don't make it final night. Please let final night be glorious, because there is nothing better than Toaster in midsummer with the best greyhound action in the world going on.
Well, it was my first visit last year, because I'm usually tethered to some studio somewhere, and I decided last year I was coming to the Derby. It was cracking the flags. I brought a jacket and everything, because everyone was saying to me, you have to wear a jacket, it's going to be freezing. I mean, I'm a hard northerner, so I was all right, to be fair, but yeah, it was sensational. And there is nothing better than seeing Toaster in all its glory in the beautiful evening sunshine. There we saw Carn Hughes taking a few bets for Star Sports. Hopefully all on Trap 6 Sing Along Molly, because she's going to do the business tonight. They're just about ready to go.
Checked over, wave of the flag, and the hare is on the move then. Hare runs. And heat 12. They're off and racing, and a flashy break from Hopes and Palumpa, but better early zip from Droopy's Metaphor to lead into the turn. Ahead of Hopes and Palumpa on the inside, then comes Sing Along Molly, who's turned in the pitch. Behind these then comes Rapido Ali. At the back of the pack, we've got Valtashadelic and Indian Body into the penultimate turn, and Sing Along Molly has swamped the field and gone on. Droopy's Metaphor's got shuffled back through the pack, and Sing Along Molly is booted clear of Hopes and Palumpa, who's in second spot, and third is Indian Bonnie. A 6-2-5 order.
Oh, what a bitch she is. Sing Along Molly for Pat Buckley, and Mr. Anderson has won. You knew as soon as she turned handy down that back straight, I was like, I am on to a winner. Cheers went up.
Well, I'm starting to really worry for Star Sports, because they've not had a good start to the competition, and this was the one greyhound that they were mentioning at the top of the show. You know, look, Droopy's Metaphor in one has led round, but the writing was on the wall from a very early stage. And you were very confident at this point.
I was very confident, because I know how strong she was last week. She's a strong staying bitch. Yes, there was a little bit of trouble for both Droopy's Metaphor and Rapido Ali, who haven't made it through. But yeah, I was pretty certain I was sitting on a winning ticket there with Sing Along Molly. Just from what we saw last week, she was so strong in a finish. This is a head-on we like to see as well. I mean, 2 and 3 have swapped lanes. 2, in fact, Hope Oompa Loompa has come quite a way over.
But look how much better tracking from Sing Along Molly this time. You know, again, small margins, but she's probably saved about 2 lengths in the way she's run the bend. She might even have got a little bit of a clip there from Trap 5. I didn't notice that first time round, but she's just looked so much more at home this time with the benefit of that run. She's driven into the 3rd bend there. We saw on the VT that she ran right off at the 4th bend. Much better this time, just a brilliant all-round display.
And she's not had too much racing either, this bitch, so I think Pat Buckley's got a very nice one on his hands, and I think it was a certainty and fortune telling everybody that she would probably make top bitch in the market, and I think it was 14-1 that Star Sports had her at top bitch before the competition started. That'll be looking pretty tasty round about now. So they're heading towards the presentation area. I've got it. I've nailed it, JK. Only on race number 8, well, 4 of the night. Pat Buckley thrilled.
Though he's celebrating you getting that right.
True, yeah. Probably was. No, we are. It's about time, to be fair. I don't even know what I've been calling it for the past few nights. I think I've just been kind of winging it, making it up, and hoping Jason was going to help. Oh, there's Emily Wallace. She was off the track yesterday. She had her final day at uni, or final news day at university yesterday. So she's a fully fledged broadcast journalist now, and a credit to the sport as well. we'll be bringing her back for for the quarterfinals, so don't you worry about that. Right, we are just waiting for her to do some Star Sports stuff, and then we'll be grabbing Pat Buckley ourselves. And then Jim Tate will be able to grab him for the winner's photograph too.
And of course, it was a pretty much last-minute decision for Pat Buckley to travel over. You know, I think it's well documented. He has got a bit of a love-hate relationship with Toaster, but I can imagine he has got absolutely no reason to question his decision. He's got some major players for this year.
29 dead at the time. So,
and again, I'd like to watch it back. I do think there was a possibility that just a little bit of time was lost, maybe around that first bend there, but you can't knock just the all-round performance.
Yeah, and Toaster is one of those tracks where you don't have to front off. It's handy if you are, you know, quick enough into that first bend and you're holding a handy pitch, but it is built for a strong running sort. You know, the ones that are potentially going to go over 6 bends in the future, you see that all the time. So I think she's something special, this girl, Sing Along Molly, and I'm very happy that she's managed to win this evening. There she is. She's not the smallest bitch either. She's just tipping about 31 kilos, so she's sizable. She'll be able to muscle round any trouble if she does get any at some point.
Well, that is a big thing. I mean, bitches, do, you know, by and large, don't win Greyhound derbies.
No.
I think, what, we had 4 or something like that.
Yeah, and I think the last one was by default. Actually,
yeah, Farlow Verdict got it in the steward's room, and part of that is that in the natural bumping and boring that you can get, the girls tend to come off a little bit worse than the boys. But I don't think she'll be too phased by much.
No, I don't think so either. I think she's got quite a big frame as well, so I think she's going to be a sturdy type as we go back to Jason.
What a brilliant performance by Sing Along Molly. Just finishing off the photos. Jim and Nasha, we get the old eyes out of the way. There we go. Now just getting there. Gilbert, you had a few good ones and you got another.
Oh, yeah, she's a decent bitch, and she ran a cracker there. I was just hoping she wouldn't get no trouble on the first bend, and she got round and, yeah, she ran a cracker.
And she handled the track so well.
Yeah, last week was her first look of the track, because obviously she's running in Shelburne on the Saturday night and she was running here on the Friday. And she did, and then tonight she's come out and she's loved it. She seems to like the track. She's running it well. But she's a 600-yard bitch, so it'd probably do her. It's a good trip for her.
Well, that was going to be my next question, Pat. We know she's going to be strong enough, and now we see she handles the track that beautifully.
Yeah, she did. She handled it great. And like you'd imagine, she'll only improve. She'll keep coming on. She's used to a bit of argy-bargy around the bend. She's available to mix it, but she gets an opening. She's got plenty of pace, and she's able to take the openings. And she'll go deep enough if things go lucky for her.
Actually trapped well tonight, and then kind of the others went past a bit, but then showed a bit of track craft.
Yeah, but she'll stay 600 yards in Shelburne, so you know she's always going to get. If she gets a run, she's always going to be coming at you. I mean, the early paces are always going to lead her, but if she gets a run at you, no matter what's in front of you, if she got a clear run at anything, she could catch it.
Brilliant, Pat. Thanks very much.
Thanks
Cheers.
very much.
Superb effort from Sing Along Molly, who's won in a time of 29 dead, 5-4 favourite. Beats Hope's Oompa Loompa, 12-1 in second, and Indian Bonnie from track 5 was third at 20-1.
Bet clever, bet good win. Proud sponsors of Gone to the Dogs.
Bet good win, bet good win, bet good win.
Strange to watch a greyhound race with no commentary.
I can remember going greyhound racing with no commentaries at big meetings, and there was. Can you believe there was some resistance when people started commentating?
What?
Yeah.
That's That's bonkers to me.
The old-timers who are probably no longer with us now, to be fair, because they'd be exceptionally old-timers, they thought it got in the way of it, and, yeah, they weren't for it. But it is so weird to hear a race without a call now.
It really is. That was very bizarre. Right, we're going to go back to Jason.
Yes, and I'm with a very, very special lady indeed, Sandra O'Sullivan. Hello, Sandra.
Good evening, Jason. Nice to see you again.
Brilliant to see you, and you've been doing such brilliant work with something of a superstar.
Yes, I have. I've got Fawn Rebel with me, who's retired at home with us, but got to the semi-finals of the Derby in 2022, quarter-finals in 2021, and even the Derby plate in 2020. So he's definitely earned his retirement, and he's very happy.
And he's been extremely popular. You can just see here, this little fellow's come up here. I don't know if you want to say your name for me, do you?
I'm Teddy.
Hello, Teddy. And we've got this little lady down here. And what's your...
My name's Brooke.
Not quite so little. And this young chap, I've got to give him a mention.
Hi, buddy. You're right. I'm Louis.
Hello, Louis. But Sandra, I mean, it is brilliant, isn't it? People getting to interact, get involved.
They are. They're coming up all the time just to talk and to pat him, and very kindly giving donations. So, and it's all for a very good cause, because there's so many greyhounds that are looking for their homes, and they're great pets.
And you do so well. And you've got dogs yourself in Oxford?
Yeah, we've got ones racing at Oxford, yes, with Richard Yates. So there's three brothers, a sister, and then Caprice is another one. So yeah, so we're very lucky.
And you were telling me earlier, Rebel was looking at the track, wanted to get out there again.
He is going nuts every time the racing is on or the hair goes round. The ears are going up, and I can feel his heart pumping, and I'm having to double hold him to keep going. And he's kind of following it the whole way. So it's been quite an event, because he's not been back here since he raced.
Well, what you and everybody else do is brilliant. Now, my friend Teddy, can you do me a favour? If I give you this, can you put that in that thing there? Yeah. In the bucket? Brilliant! Thank you very much, Teddy, and thank you very much to you, Sandra.
Lovely to see you. Thank you very much.
Doing a cracking job fundraising for our retired greyhounds, because we're trying to help the homing centres that we're partnered with Greyhound Homing UK. If you do want any more information, do go to greyhoundhominguk.com.
And Jason's got rid of the couple of quid that Star Sports gave him earlier.
Yeah, well, he had to get rid of it somehow. He's not going to place a winning bet, is he? Right, trap 6, Bocco's Diamond 4-11, although he did have a winning nap yesterday, to be fair. It's at 5-1, trap 1, Romeo Command, the old boy. Trap 4, Ballymac Lucia, my pick in this at 7s. 12-1, Racket Hall Brute, 25-1, Kevin's Rocket, and 5-9% at 50-1. Big race for you here, JK.
Huge race. Just so excited to be involved. You know, obviously I'm a part owner of Trap 2, Kevin's Rocket. It was in 2 on this occasion, and I was absolutely thrilled with him. He was against Bombay Pat, who we've seen what he's capable of. And from this point onwards, I was just hoping for qualification, you know. But this is actually Bocco's Diamond showing here, but I was just hoping for qualification. Bocco's Diamond had to battle very, very hard.
Yeah.
I think people were a little bit quick to jump on the bandwagon against him. I think again, there was such a long distance back to the third. My worry with people getting on the Bocco's Diamond anti-bandwagon is that they're going to be made to look very, very foolish at some point, and it might well be just coming up now, because we didn't just notice they were watering the track after 4 heats.
Yeah.
The track's going to be pretty lively here, I would think, and we all know he's got a brilliant makeup.
I mean, he does. Bocco's Diamond, he is a superstar. Hopefully, he can show us really what he's made of tonight. But this is Romeo Command. He was runner-up 2 years ago. He won the Cat 2 Champion Stakes last year. He just needs a slightly better start tonight. We know he's got it in him, especially from the red jacket. Trap 2, Kevin's Rocket, consistent at Hove, reached the Olympic semi-finals, was second, actually, after trouble behind Bombay Pat last time. And Bombay Pat obviously franked the form earlier on in sensational style. Racket Hall Brute, second in the Monmore Puppy Derby. Overcame a little bit of trouble to sneak through last week in third behind New In Benny. Trap 4 is Ballymac Lucia. Love this girl. Reached 3 Cat 1 finals as a pup. Reached the 3rd round of the Conan Ann Kirby Memorial. Troubled run last week, but she's a real battler. Trap 5 is 9%. Loves it here. Had a bit of time off, but seems to be back to his best. Just needs to be a lot quicker than last week for me. 29.46 will not be quick enough against a couple of these in this lineup. He is 50-1. And Bocco's Diamond Is he the fastest dog on the planet? He had to battle hard last week, but he's only had 2 runs since the Irish Derby last November, so I guess we can forgive him that, and he's very short at 4 to 11. The other one we want to have a look at, because he is a fan favourite, it is Romeo Command. He was in Heat 20 on Friday out of box at number 3, and I thought he ran an absolute cracker.
Well, he did. I mean, I think there is a case to be made at 4.5-year-old that he's probably not quite the force that he once was. But he's always been the gamest of greyhounds, and adversity doesn't faze him, and he certainly didn't find himself in a great position, but he chased down really well. Eventually, he was beaten third, just over a length, behind kennelmate Slick Sentinel. My concern this evening for him is that I don't think Trap 1 is conducive to fast breaks for him normally. So that will be a little bit of a concern. The way I saw this race was in the highly likely event that Bocco's Diamond breaks well and gets away. It's going to be a race for the places, I would imagine. My young greyhound in 2, Kevin's Rocket, could well, with a decent break, be in second place, probably a distant second early. I would be very concerned, though, at the strength of the greyhounds in this contest, particularly Racket Hall Brute and Ballymac Lucia. They both absolutely fly home. I would make Racket Hall Brute the most likely for the forecast here, only on the basis that I thought Ballymac Lucia wasn't as forceful at the bend last week. She was in a good position, and a bit like we're talking about how it can be more difficult for bitches, I thought she got worried out of it a little bit before absolutely flying home. She wouldn't want to try and give Racket Hall Brute any sort of a start and a beating.
Now, we have got this race coming up at Toaster, of course, which is heat number 13. After this, though, and before the next heat of the Derby, we will be heading to Monmore because they have kindly given us the right to show the PGR Golden Jacket. So our thanks to Premier Greyhound Racing for letting us do that, because we like to bring you the best here on Gone to the Dogs. And it's great that we've got that cracking race coming up. I'm hoping Mongiswar just pings and goes. Adi Smith-Pope says, I think Bocco's will win, surely too short. Andrew Borden, 6 could fall over twice and still win this. Maybe not. Trap 6 here, no odds though, cover the bet with Trap 2. Shout out to the Home Run Hounds of Wombourne. That's from Deborah Room. Go Home Run Hounds Wombourne. And Tommy Tinkler, cheeky few quid on 3 and 4 against the field here. So cannot wait to see this race. Very much looking forward to it.
Well, I obviously can't wait for this race.
Yeah.
I'd been absent from ownership for a few years, and after a chance meeting with Seamus last year at Brighton races, where 1 or 2 drinks may have been taken, I've ended up with a half share in Kevin's Rocket, and it's been a great ride.
They're about to go.
A wave of the flag, and the hare is now on the move. Hare runs then for heat 13. Hot favourite is the anti-post favourite, Bocco's Diamond in Trap 6. And they're away and racing on. Bocco's Diamond has come out like a firecracker and roars into the first turn and leads from Kevin's Rocket, who's going to turn a clean second. A bump there at the back for 9% as they go down the far side. And Bocco's Diamond is showing his magic there and going 7-8 lengths clear from Kevin's Rocket. And then in behind these comes Romeo Command, the old boy looking for a qualifying spot as they turn for the judge. Bocco's Diamond, sparkling in the toaster sun, wins it nicely. 3, Racket Hall Brute ran on for the qualifying spot with Kevin's Rocket just in behind. Whatever Crystal Palace can do, Bocco's Diamond can do it better.
Oh my word. We knew that something special was going to happen. 1, Bocco's Diamond has come out like an absolute rocket. Your rocket is also through.
Very quickly with me, I am just so excited. If I wasn't being told to speak, I'd be lost for words. But let's wait for the time, because this is just a run, an absolute run. This is flawless. This is Bocco's Diamond that we were promised.
This is what we've wanted to see for the last 2 runs that he's had, and we thought tonight maybe the juvenile. 28.51.
Wow. Wow, I thought it might even be quicker than that,
Wow.
But that's, just fantastic. And looking to the bend there, probably Romeo Command moving off a tiny bit, but it was pretty much, everything got a run. I don't think there were too many hard luck stories. I'm not sure what happened at the first bend for a couple of the greyhounds towards the back of the field, but not really. I think that Bocco's Diamond just stretched the race to an incredible extent. And look, I'm actually going to say fair play to Kevin's Rocket. He had a thankless task trying to keep Bocco's Diamond in sight, and he's only actually lost second place late on, and he's held on for third.
What's funny is I was like, oh, Diamond's away and gone. My eyes were then going, where's the rocket? Come on, the rocket, because I just wanted him to qualify for you. And I think if he didn't get the start that he did today, he was in trouble, because there were a few stronger, you know, runners coming for home in that race. And I mean, you've got a third round.
I'm in the third round, yeah.
You're getting closer to this trophy, JK.
Yeah, I think I'm a lot further away than Bocco's Diamond is, that is for sure.
Bocco's Diamond, dog of a generation. Everybody's been saying he is the fastest dog on the planet. He's one spot off Deladi Dar's fastest time of the Derby, but this lad, just unreal. I'd like to see the split on that as well, to be fair. I'm not getting the splits at the moment, though, so if anyone can give me any splits, that would be great. There's Emily, getting in before us and Jason. She's able to move around with just a smartphone these days, though. But she does some fantastic stuff for Star Sports. If you don't already follow the Star Sports X feed, do make sure you start following it now. Brilliant. Crystal Palace and Bocco's Diamond Graham box will be chuffed as mint balls.
And there was no need for VAR.
I hate VAR. Hate it. Right, the tractor's going round there. The beautiful evening sun. Come on, Emily, let us go. No, they are thrilled, absolutely thrilled. I mean, the smiles from ear to ear just show you what this means to connections of Bocco's Diamond. That's what we've been waiting for. People had written him off and just said, especially when he was beaten in the juvenile, but I'd spoken to Graham Box a couple of times and I kept getting, oh, he's 60% fit, 70% fit, 80% fit. Right, he's not 100%. I think now he's probably 90 to 100 and we're going to see even better.
I mean, I'd like to go back and watch everything, but I can't imagine I'm going to find many faults with that performance. You know, he's now got to continue doing it. But if he does that, I'll wait for an update from the bookmakers. I think that 7-2 is going to be long gone.
I agree. Ben Keith there as well, looking to get some diamond love, and draped in the colours of Crystal Palace.
And Star Sports' strategy actually has proven correct. They have been ducking Bocco's Diamond outright on the basis that there will come a point in the competition where they're able to lay in much shorter, and that point is probably now.
Right, let's go to Jason.
Photographs are just being taken for what was the most amazing performance by Bocco's Diamond. Ecstatic connections, of course. I just want to, Bev Lockhead, I'm calling you out. I'm going to come through. I've got to get to Bev. I'm swimming through. Now, I'm going to talk to other connections later on because we've got to go to Monmore for the golden jacket. But what a day for you, Bev.
Oh, it's fantastic. A lovely double.
Would you say not easy, but eze?
Perfect way of saying it.
Perfect football team, perfect Greyhound, Bocco's Diamond.
Bocco's Diamond, 28.51, 2-7 favourite. Racket Hall Brute second, 12-1. The Rocket in third, 16-1 in trap number 2, all through to round 3.
Bet Clever. Bet Goodwin. Proud sponsors of Gone to the Dogs.
Cannot wait for this. It's the scene at Monmore. We have got the Premier Greyhound Racing Golden Jacket Final of 2025, and they're going over to the 684-metre start with Trap 1. Monge's Wild, who set the track record last week, 40.54. Trap 2 is Magical Luna. Trap 3, Hacker Carlo. 4 is Radical Scoby. 5, New in Cloud. And 6, Bombay Nutty. The 3 heat winners for all from the Mark Wallace kennel last week were Monge's Wild in 1, New in Cloud in 5 and Bombay Nutty in 6. Of course, the fastest time was Monge's Wild, but this, JK, is an absolute cracker of a race.
Well, you know what? Monge's Wild was a greyhound who came out of Ireland. I'm just glad that no longer Irish-based, because it's an Irish complete domination at Toaster, isn't it?
Yeah.
That 5 from 5, just in case Ian Fortune is listening, who just messaged me, asking what the score was tonight.
Like he doesn't know.
But this, I mean, Monge's Wild, his his early profile in the UK is actually very, very similar to Garfinny Blaze.
Yeah.
Only he managed to win over the 8 bends and get the TV trophy, where that just proved a little step beyond Garfinny Blaze, but just as dominant over 6 bends. Most people here are going to be looking for a forecast bet. I'm going to go with 4, Radical Scoby, on the basis that the speed of the speed, the early pacer who leads the other early pacer, might be the one that can stay in front longer before we expect the middle pace of Monge's Wild to prove stronger. The other early pacers who don't lead will be under pressure straight away. That's the point I'm trying to make.
In a roundabout way.
I saw you looking very confused.
I mean, it doesn't take a lot, JK, let's be fair. But they are out on the track here at Monmore. We are about a minute or so to post time. I can't wait for this race, and I'll be calling them home as well. So hopefully everything goes to plan. 2 to 7 for Monge's Wild. Don't think there's much money around for anything else. It'll be more, you know, your combis or whatever. Bombay Nutty put a cracking time on the board, 40.93. Radical Scoby, he was a 41.24 last week. So, I mean, there's only 2 that have dipped under the 41-second mark, and they are Monge's Wild and Bombay Nutty. And for me, that would be the forecast play. I just think I like Bombay Nutty. I always have.
And I can't look logically. I can't disagree. I'm just trying to look for a slightly different angle, and certainly maybe trying to bump it up. I'm looking at a 2 to 7 to beat a 20 to 1. But you know what? Sometimes races aren't just about the betting angle. Monge's Wild has just been absolutely incredible when you think what he's achieved and winning a TV trophy already. This is a huge... obviously, this competition used to be at the sadly now closed Crayford. It's a different type of a competition at Monmore of the 684, but I'm glad it's a 684 because it's a real test of stamina. I think the 630 at Monmore, you don't necessarily have to stay that well to win. You need to stay to win this.
You do. Now, they are ready. This is the Premier Greyhound Racing Golden Jacket Final of 2025. Here we go. And they're off, racing away, and 4 Radical Scoby is out quickly from 5 New In Cloud in second place. To the outside comes Bombay Nutty. In fourth at the moment is Monge's Wild, the track record holder, and at the back Magical Luna and Hacker Carlo. Down the straight with a lap to go, and Radical Scoby setting the pace from New In Cloud on the outside of Monge's Wild. Racing just in behind those, Bombay Nutty on the rail. At the back of the field, Magical Luna and Hacker Carlo. There's about 15 lengths front to back, but here he comes. He's the track record holder. It's Monge's Wild. He's hit the front into the 5th bend. It's Monge's Wild out in front of Radical Scoby in second. Racing third is Bombay Nutty. But down the lane, this was easy. Monge's Wild takes the PGR Golden Jacket. Tight for second. I think Bombay Nutty might just have come through for second place, but that was impressive. Monge's Wild, all eyes will be on the clock again. I'm not sure he's gone quite as quickly as last week, but that was impressive.
It was very impressive. I think Radical Scoby, who's come third, has run an absolute burster. Just lost second, I think, on the line. Made Monge's Wild actually probably work a little bit harder to get to the front than we thought might be the case. But fair play to 6 Bombay Nutty has come through as well. There was never any stage of the race, I know you're in the call and you're watching them all, but it just always felt a case of when rather than if Monge's Wild was going to get to the front.
To be honest, that's what I thought as well in the call. I was watching where he was, and he was kind of 4th, 5th in the first early strides, and then you just think, yeah, here he comes, hits the 5th bend in front, and it was a case of how far from this point. I mean, what a sensational greyhound this lad is turning out to be. He's had 13 races, I want to say, now in the UK. He's been beaten once, and that was into second when he missed the break. He's obviously just a credit to Connections. That was sensational. And you know what? I love calling those races. I love being here, but commentating is just...
And I would think there's every chance that we'll see Monge's Wild here over the next few weeks, because plenty of supporting competitions, whether they'd come 6 bends or whether they go back to 8, who knows?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's the track record holder over 9.42, so the Durando.
Durando, of course, to go with the TV trophy, that would be. But there were also 6 bend competitions. I probably would think the marathon, because I think the further he goes, the better he is.
I agree. Could not agree more. Right, we have got plenty coming up on the show, of course, and the next race on the way is the 8:39, which will see Romeo Empire, but we're going to go back to Jason.
Thanks, Danny, and I'm going to get an instant reaction to that wonderful performance from Mongiswa.
Yeah, I mean, great performance. It's always quite pressurising having a sort of a 1-4 shot in a big final, as well as 2 others in it. But no, he's done the business really, really well. He's come out well enough. You're just hoping don't get done at the bend, but he got around in a clear passage, and the writing was on the wall, really. But he's a superstar. I'm very proud of him.
Was there any 1-4 around? I thought it was shorter than that.
1-4 was what I saw, but anyway, very short, and it's a lot of pressure, so I'm glad he's done it.
And might he be back here in a couple of weeks?
I would say so, yeah. I'd say the target is probably the Durando Marathon, since he obviously loves the marathon around Toaster. So, yeah, but I think any distance he runs over, he's a superstar. So, yeah, and he's such a lovely dog in the kennel as well. Every time he walks past someone, he's got to jump up on their shoulders and have a cuddle. So he's the loveliest dog in the kennel and very fast on the track.
Brilliant, Emily. Congratulations. Thanks for that instant reaction.
I'm just hearing that he might have gone a bit quicker, 40-41, but unconfirmed.
Well, if he has, you know, fair play to Radical Scobie for being a brilliant pacemaker. You know, has actually made, you know, taken him a lot further, a lot deeper in the race than you might have thought was going to be the case.
I mean, I said as well, I don't know if he's quite as quick, but goodness me, we're just waiting for the full confirmation. Those are the whispers that are spreading around the Greyhound world that it was 40-41, but my word. Yeah, Mongiswa, Bombay Nutty, Radical Scobie, the 1-2-3 for the Premier Greyhound Racing Golden Jacket Final of 2025. 2-7 favourite, the winner. Very short, but with good reason. And there is the presentation area at Monmore. That is superb. The way they've cut those hedges.
Yeah.
Bushes, whatever they are.
Yeah. It is, and it's really good to see so many tracks now making so much more of an effort, you know, and realising that not just the customer is king, that being greyhound ownership, you do need to feel treasured might be over the top, but you know, you're not just a hindrance to them, you're the whole reason why we're able to put these races on.
It's phenomenal that we're able to put these races on. I mean, you can see Mark Wallace there. I think Liam Aspin was the lad that's led him up. We've got Scott Harvey of Greyhound Racing UK. So, yeah, Mike's not there tonight. I know he's elsewhere. 40-42. Goodness gracious me. So another track record smashed by Mongies Wild.
Yeah, he is definitely a bit of a phenom.
He really is. I mean, absolute machine, says A.D. Smith-Pope. Mongies Wild will take some beating. What a joy to watch. Only one winner off the second. So really, really impressive. Right, there is the red-jacketed runner, Savannah Marapi, third in the BGBF Puppy Cup, British Breeders' Stakes finalist. Fell out the boxes last week in a 4:36 split. Fingers crossed for better today, but he is 50-1. And getting a lot of love from his handler. So going to head towards the 500 metres shortly. Trap 2 is Romeo Empire, third in the British Breeders' Stakes final. 6 bends probably in his future, and from last week you can definitely see why he was running on like a train. There's Trap 3, Droopy's Trade, ran well in the gym crack after a bump, justified the price last week of 2-5, but he won't get it all his own way up front, the puppy. Trap 4 is Glory Lord, 4 wins in Ireland, ran a cracker last week behind Cheap Sandwiches, when beaten only 2 lengths by that lad. Trap 5, Tricky Wiggles, I think the best named greyhound in the competition still. Lightly raced, Birmingham Cup 4th, was third behind Susie, and pay point Susie franked the form yesterday with Trap 6 Back to Black. 1 over 575 will be staying on. He did lead last week though and was just collared by Soul Choice. So another good race coming up, and this a little more open than a couple that we've seen tonight.
It is. I've gone with 3, Droopy's Trade. We heard trader Patrick Jansen say that he's going to have to build a bit of a lead, certainly to hold off kennelmate Romeo Empire. I think the greyhound that will outrun odds here is Back to Black. I was a bit surprised, like yourself, that he was picked up after leading last week, given that he's run 1 over further. But I just quite liked his makeup here, and I think at double figures, he's a ground I could use in some of the more exotic bets.
OK, so Back to Black to use in the more exotic bets. Just hearing a 393 split for Bocco's Diamond. So, yeah, one of the quicker ones of the second round. In fact, the quickest of the second round, I want to say, because Churchfield Sid was only 396 yesterday.
I think that's correct.
So they are heading towards the boxes shortly.
By the way, you never say only 396 at Toaster.
No, you're right, we don't. Right, we're going to have a look at Romeo Empire, I think, from Heat 19 last week on Friday.
Yeah, Romeo Empire running on the inside here, and it was a race that was sort of all change at the bend, really. Romeo Empire was able to get in the clear. Ballymac Lucia had sort of lost her pitch and would end up rattling home as well, but I always felt this was a case of when Romeo Empire would get there, and the opportunity came to storm through on the inside, and he held on very well from a strong finishing Ballymac Lucia.
About to go into the boxes for our latest heat here on Gone to the Dogs Live. Welcome along if you have just joined us. I hope you're enjoying the action as we go to Paul Lawrence.
So the hare's on the move then for Heat 14 of the second round of the Greyhound Derby. Stand by, hare approaches. Gates lift and off and racing, and Droopy's Trade has flashed out the boxes ahead of Glory Lord into the turn, who just cut across Romeo Empire there. But it is Droopy's Trade, the youngster, with around about a 3.5 length lead at the halfway stage, ahead of Glory Lord. Then behind these, trying to make progress, is Romeo Empire. He's got to get round Glory Lord though first, and then behind these comes Back to Black, Tricky Wiggles, and Savannah Marapi is the back marker. But Droopy's Trade, he's going to see it out well here. Droopy's Trade wins it from Romeo Empire, with Glory Lord qualifying back in third. It's a 3-2-4 order in Heat 14.
Droopy's Trade, the July 23 son of Droopy's Sydney for Patrick Janssens, and the Three Tall Men Syndicate has beaten Romeo Empire, who was staying on so strongly, and Glory Lord has managed to qualify in third, but he cracked out. He's made all. He's never seen another rival.
No, and I would imagine that when I work out the third bend, well, back straight sectionals that we've been running on the SIS website, that'll be pretty smart. He probably has come back a little bit late on, but he seemed to have broken the heart almost of Glory Lord, who I thought might give him more of a challenge, and has comfortably enough held on from kennelmate Romeo Empire. I'm going to point out to Ian Fortune that there was no Irish winner of that heat. He'll probably say they didn't have a runner, but my point still stands.
I've missed you, JK. Droopy's Trade, the winner of heat number 14. Always got to stick the knife into Ian Fortune when we can. Looking at the head-on, I mean, 1, Savannah Marapi doesn't want to be on the inside, and 5, Tricky Wiggles were just screaming out for the wide.
Yeah, I'll probably agree with both those sentiments.
As we watch the replay once again, just superb early pace from Droopy's Trade. He's a puppy with a nice future, I think. You know, he ran well in the gym crack. He was touched off after a bit of trouble from box 2 behind Elusive No More in the final there, but he was back on track last week, and he's now 2 from 2 in the Derby, which is quite remarkable for such a youngster.
And look, he's only going to get better.
I'd like to see or hear the time on that, because he was 29.14. I was looking at Glory Lord because it was highlighted. 29.14 calculated last week, because he, of course, was racing when it was slightly slower ground as well on the Thursday.
I think he made just about a broken 29, just about. He did tire a little bit coming home.
Yeah, I think he was 28.97.
We could make ourselves look foolish here. We didn't need to do that, you know.
I know, well, I did before, and I went, I don't think Monge's Wild has broken the track record. Of course he did. What was it, 12 spots he's managed to improve it by, which is just unreal, really. I've had a couple of messages about Monge's Wild. A.D. Smith-Pope says, I'd suggest the Durando in a few weeks, followed by the Regency St Ledger. Nice few months' work. So, wow, that got out well, says Andrew Baldwin, apologies. Do keep your comments coming in, see who you are backing this evening. I think quite a few people will be on the old boy Coolio Gold in the next. Thought the bookends are going to have it in Heat 15, to be honest. Though I do like Keyfield Maverick as well. But Jim Tate, one of the busiest men at Toaster. As we go back to another busy guy, it's Jason.
Thanks, Danny. And we just see the photos taken there. I tell you what, they're going to get repetitive strain injury. They're doing so much arm raising throughout this Derby pack.
Yeah, he's done a cracker. You know, he's getting the hang of the traps now. He come out well, and he made the bend and down the backstraight. He showed a lot of gears.
I think that's the scary proposition for the rivals, that he is very much on the upgrade.
Yeah, he is. When you see where he's coming from, in 3 runs he's gone from 29.40 to 28.80 tonight. You know what I mean? So, I think there's more left in him, if I'm honest. You know, he's a beautiful dog. He's great temperament, good traveller, good eater. There's nothing wrong with him.
He is an all-rounder because he's got the ability to put a race to bed early, but if things don't go right at the start, even then you know he'll keep going.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he's only a July puppy, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's still maturing. He's a big dog. He's 36.8 kilo, 36.8. So, do you know what I mean? He's nowhere near the end. You know what I mean? But he's such a great prospect. You know, if it don't happen this year, he'd be a great prospect for next year.
So now I've got to ask you, owned by the Three Tall Men Syndicate, we saw Roy last week, and we were worried about him going back home and his wife being involved in a game of naked twister. Why haven't we seen him since then?
Well, you tell me. I didn't hear from him.
Left hand blue.
Oh, you almost got me then. 3 Droopies trade 28.80. 5-2 has beaten Romeo Empire, 13-8 favourite. Second, Glory Lord, 7-4 in third place.
Bet Goodwin, proud sponsors of Gone to the Dogs.
You stop me like a red light.
Bet clever, bet Goodwin.
Just over one end of the trap, and there they go. And it's Fairhill Boy who gets out, and Drew is Jono's second. Fairhill Boy and Drew is Jono's gone back in the field. In fact, it's Slippy Blue's looking the second. But Fairhill Boy's got a 2-length lead from Slippy Blue. Drew is Jono's trying to come on the outside. It's Slippy Blue goes past Fairhill Boy. Slippy Blue and Fairhill Boy. Fairhill Boy battling back. It's Fairhill Boy and Slippy Blue, and Drew is Jono in third and trying to get a run. Drew is Jono coming into third. I think he's trying to get into second. But they're not going to catch Slippy Blue, I don't think. Fairhill Boy, Slippy Blue. Slippy Blue gets there. Slippy Blue wins the derby. Fairhill Boy just hung on to get second from Drew is Jono. What an incredible race.
I do love seeing these old derbies. Right, we are going to go back to Jason, who's caught up with the sponsor, Ben Keith. So, Ben Keith, I know, and we've had him on the podcast before on Gone to the Dogs, and he basically wants Star Sports to be synonymous with the Greyhound Derby, and we can hear from him now. Or maybe not. So, JK, Ben Keith, he's a credit to the great world of Greyhound.
I've known Ben for probably 25 years. I did a feature on him when I was at the Racing Post, and he was a young trader at, I think, City Index, a spread firm, and to see what he's achieved. And he's always kept that passion for ground racing. Ground racing is so much the better for it.
And I think we can hear from him this time.
I'm very pleased to say that I'm joined by a chief sponsor of the Derby, has been for many years, a great lover of the game, and as I say, a brilliant supporter. We haven't got a final one, Ben Keith.
Thank you very much. Nice. What an introduction, Jason, from a good-humoured and genial chap like yourself. Thank you very much.
I tell you what, as much as I like speaking to Ben, in my eye line, his gorgeous daughter, Georgina, didn't want to talk to me. She's doing cartwheels, and quite rightly so as well.
Why not? What's wrong with doing cartwheels? Georgie, what did you think about that one? What do you want to do for a job when you're older? You want to tell them? Unicorn rider here, professional.
That was Unicorn Rider, but we're getting an update.
She wants to be a unicorn rider and an artist.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well, who doesn't?
Why not? Yes. And at school, expert subject when she has to do a presentation on unicorns. They're from Scotland, I'll have you know.
Oh, they are. It's on the coat of arms and everything. Yeah. I did actually know that. Ben, about the Derby, it's been brilliant over the last few years. We're in for a special one this year, aren't we?
I believe that this is our 9th or 10th year of being involved in and having that honour to be involved in the Derby. This is the best Derby we've been involved in, definitely. I mean, I don't think there's ever been in my lifetime as many truly great four-bend dogs around. I mean, there's been some doubters of Bocco's Diamond. I think they probably, I don't know where you'd be able to find them now. Yeah, I mean, I thought the clock had gone. I don't know about you, but it'll take a hell of a dog to beat Bocco's Diamond.
I think it was a few spots just outside. And last thing, Ben,
I thought it was. I meant when I watched it, I thought the clock's gone, but it hadn't. Yeah.
Now I need your permission because the results haven't gone brilliant for the bookmakers. God. Do you want me to continue? Let's just say, taking the rise with Lofty and Cup.
You may, as you wish. I will have the last laugh. I always win it all back on Derby final night. I don't know why the punters always have the upper hand, the first and second round. You know, it's my mentor was Tony Morris, the bookie, and he used to cramp the front two during the Derby, and now I'm learning why. Because they just win.
Ben, thank you very much, and may we all be unicorn riders and artists. Thank you.
Jason, thank you very much.
Well, yeah, I mean, unicorns are up there with the Loch Ness Monster, aren't they, in Scotland? That's where they're from.
Absolutely, yeah. Ben makes a very serious point about the front two in the market. Yeah. We really haven't seen too many absolute boilovers yet. Not every favourite's won. But punters, do not listen to Ben. Still come on final night. It will turn one day. Just keep playing up those winnings.
Yeah, I mean, I love finals night. I can't wait for finals night. I mean, the Durando is fantastic. All the other competitions that we're building up from the quarterfinals as well. The Derby Plate, of course, when we see the ones that have been slightly unlucky in the first couple of rounds. I love Derby.
I actually think that the point Ben makes is valid, because I think you do get more bigger price winners, more quote-unquote shock results on Derby final night.
Yeah.
A lot of these shock results, though, are findable. It's you know, there were Greyhounds back from, I remember, I think Hacker Carlo, who we've seen earlier, was back from 20 to 1 into something like 6 to 1 before winning the Stayers final last year. So a few people knew. Yeah,
and I think if you do your homework, you can watch the replays, as Joe Keneally always tells me to do. You can find the value. Coolio Gold, 5-4 favourite for our next heat, heat number 15. I can't believe we're up to the penultimate heat already. I've got to run over to the restaurant in a bit. 2 Droopy's Heiress, 14-1. 3 Missile 1 6s. 4 Scooby Pacemaker at 8. 5 Keyfield Maverick at 9-2, and 6 New in Benny is at 4-1. I would love to see New in Benny and Missile 1 going paw to paw once again. This was on Friday and there was not much between them.
No, there wasn't, and I'll be honest with you, in running, I thought Missile 1 in Trap 2 had every chance against New in Benny in 6. Missile 1 is actually a little brother of my Greyhound, Kevin's Rocket, so looking to complete a family double of qualifiers. I did actually speak to Seamus earlier, and he said that if he'd been in Trap 1 tonight, he would have been really, really sweet on him in this race. I think the middle draw does pose him a couple of issues. There was nothing between these two Greyhounds on this occasion, and I think it might be more of the same.
OK, so we've got New in Benny in 6 today. Missile 1 is in 3 for Seamus Cahill. We've also got, I mean, Coolio Gold. He's just such a lovable Greyhound, isn't he?
He is, because I remember when he got to the quarterfinals, and it looked like he picked up an injury last year, which he did. He was off for some time, but he's come back, and do you know what? I think he's come back just as good. He is a May 21, but this is the 43rd race of his British career today, so he's not got many, many miles on the clock, and he's still got all the enthusiasm. He's got all the early pace, and he can tough it out when he has to as well. What more can you ask for in a Greyhound?
You can't really, can you? And especially when he's dipped under the 29 seconds as well. Superb effort for Coolio Gold last year. So we're up to the penultimate race of round 2. I can't quite believe how quickly this night has gone. I mean, it's just unbelievable, JK, and I've been really happy to have caught up with you today as well.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Obviously, I was always going to be coming tonight to watch Kevin's Rocket. I've now got to reconsider my plans for next Saturday, which is great, because you don't want to tempt fate, you know. Yeah, it's whizzed past as you said it would, and we've got 2 heats to go.
We do. Coolio Gold, quarter-finalist last year, regular in top comps. He's a lovable older boy and ran a cracker from here last week. Can he do it again? The odds say so. Trap 2 is Droopy's Heiress. She's not had a win yet in 5, but she finished like a train last week after a bit of trouble behind Droopy's Trade. She's only an August 23, daughter of Malachy. We then get to Trap 3 shortly. Missile 1's about to come into picture. There he is. Coral Olympic 4th, finished well, just couldn't quite peg back Benny last week, as we saw in the VT. He's 11-2 as it stands. We have Trap 4. Scooby Pacemaker at 9-1. He's a big lad as well, actually, Missile 1, 35.5 kilos. Trap 4's not far off him, 35. Third in the Conan and Kirby Memorial last year, reached the quarters of the Irish Derby, and he was second behind Plunge last week. Trap 5's Keyfield Maverick had high hopes after the British bred Puppy Cup second, reached a further Cat 1 final, and he was third behind a nice type in TJ's Chelms last week. And Trap 6, New in Benny, won last week, beat Missile 1 by a neck. He's only lightly raced this year, and he won the Sussex Cup last year. Cracking race coming up for our penultimate heat on round 2. Welcome along to Gone to the Dogs Live, brought to you in association with Bet Goodwin this evening. Just having a look at a few comments. Jim Parker, what a gentleman Ben is. Let's be honest, the Derby's only what it is now due to his backing. Let's not forget Kevin Boothby too. If you missed Kevin Boothby's interview, that was on the show last night. So I think it will be on social media on the Gone to the Dogs podcast Twitter feed at some point in the, well, probably this week. Andrew Baldwin, no idea in this race. I'll eat my cheeseburger. Stop it, you made me hungry. I'd have halloumi and salad before. Wahoo. What did you have, JK?
Well, if you do come to Toaster, do partake of the Greek kebabs. They're very, very nice.
They are. I had that earlier on. In fact, I've had it for every night. So
and by my standards, relatively healthy. Relatively healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I had it without the wrap because I'm on this stupid health kick.
Just to say here, Coolio Gold, my selection, has been bigger than this. I think the price is only just about OK now. Gwen, I'd like to mention, apart from Missile One, who I think will run a big race, is Keithel Maverick. I think it was yourself pointed out he went up with the traps last week.
Yeah.
And for a greyhound who really wants to be up there and in front, I thought you had to mark his performance up quite highly. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Keithel Maverick potentially leading on the outside. I do think Coolio Gold is just the most likely overall leader, though.
I agree. I think Coolio Gold is going to win. The one that I think, and I keep having this thought in my mind, that Droopy's Heiress, I feel like she's going to be one of those dogs that's just going to keep on sneaking through because she finishes so strongly. Yes, she's not won, but I just think with her being such a young pup, August 23, I think she's still got a little bit more to come.
Well, I tipped her last week, and I won't say I was disappointed because, like yourself, you've got to understand where she is in her career. The fact that she was unable to get competitive in a heat won by Droopy's Trade now looks an awful lot more understandable than it might have done at the time.
Yeah, because Droopy's Trade just won in a 28.80, which is pretty quick. Fastest time of the night, of course, Bocco's Diamond, 28.51. Fastest time of the competition so far, 28.50. Still chasing that track record, 28.44, set by Barntic Bear, who is through to the 3rd round. So we've got 2 more races to come. Then after Heat 16, I'll be heading over to do the... Well, I won't be doing the draw. I'll just be telling you who's who and who's where. Kim Sanzone will be drawing the little pieces of paper out the drum.
Let Kim know I'll be watching this week.
I will. No pressure, Kim. They are loading 11 to 10. Money pouring on Coolio Gold. I can see why. He's my pick as well. I just love this lad. And yeah, like trap 2 for the first 3. Trap 5, here we go.
Head runs for Heat 15 of the Derby, 2nd round. Here approaches. Lids rise off from racing, and 5 Keithel Maverick gets the best break and will lead into the turn. Chased by New In Benny, who just tried to find a way past and just caught the heels there. And 1 Coolio Gold is now back in 3rd, followed through by Scooby Pacemaker, and a gap back to Missile One, and 2 Droopy's Heiress just can't go the gallop, but it's Keithel Maverick who's parrying on the pressure and has kicked away now from New In Benny and will come home alone here. New In Benny, yes sir, very impressive indeed. It was a 5-6-1 order with New In Benny and Coolio Gold back in behind.
Keithel Maverick, the winner of heat number 15. So Keithel Maverick has won for Keely Cunningham and Phil Milner.
Do you know, it took me forever to realise where the Keithel prefix came from. Keely and Phil.
Well, I've just found out today, so thank you for that. Trap 5, I've even had it on the podcast. I don't even think I asked him, but Keithel Maverick, I mean, he's done everything right out the boxes this week. He was up with the traps last week. He's really put his paw to the floor, and this lad was always something special, I think, for Phil Milner, and he's shown it here.
Yeah, he absolutely has. And Coolio Gold wasn't badly away, but he didn't get the start that Keithel Maverick got. I'm glad I got the mention in of him beforehand, but I can't claim any other credit apart from we did remember to mention him.
5-6-1. New In Benny has qualified in 2nd. Coolio Gold has got through for 3rd. 28.93 for Keithel Maverick, so a definite improvement on what we saw from him last week. but he's rocketed out the boxes here. I mean, he has had New in Benny just maybe clip his heels slightly on the first turn, but...
And bad trouble at the back of the field, both Droopy Zaris and Missile One really basically knocked out of any contention. I've got to say, I think Coolio Gold has done really well.
Well, I thought at this point, Scooby Pacemaker, I thought it's a matter of time until Coolio Gold's picked up for third, and he's gutsed it out, as we know he can do. And here is the home run for Keyfield Maverick. Keely and Phil will be very, very happy indeed that they've got him through, because I think Keyfield Goose went out last night. And, yeah, very, very happy. Smiles up in Doncaster, that is for sure. I think they had videos of the kids last week on social media cheering because they had a winner in the derby as well last week with Keyfield Goose. So I'm sure it'll be the same tonight, past their bedtime maybe.
The derby is so many different things to so many people. You know, winning a heat at the derby, if you haven't got realistic expectations to, you know, perhaps win the competition overall, it's just an amazing achievement. And I can assure you, finishing third, second and then third in a couple of rounds it's brilliant. Jenny, I wish you could bottle what I am feeling at the moment. You know, it's just stunningly good.
To be fair, like I say, I wasn't even watching Bocco's Diamond. I was watching your dog because you're here, and I was thinking, I've got to watch where Kevin's Rocket's going to come. Because, you know, he was such a big price and he ran so well, and he was in against the champ. So, oh, look at him. He's a stunner. I really do like Mav. He's a great asset to the kennel. And there'll be chuffed connections as well. Cracking run that from A.D. Smith Pope. Freddie, says James H. Last race is a cracker. So, yeah, having a build up to the final race shortly. But there he is, Keyfield Maverick. Beautiful dog. And we can head to Jason.
Well, what a brilliant performance that was, Keyfield Maverick. I've got to come to Keely. Whoa.
I know. He last week he didn't trap the best. He came up with the traps. This week he trapped fine, didn't he? He come out away, went round the bend lovely. His brother unfortunately didn't qualify yesterday, so he's taken his chance to go, and we go again next week. Lovely dog.
And you're kind of renowned for early paces, aren't you?
Yeah, Droopy's Edition throws tremendous early, and they seem to all have it. So I think Goose's brother is in, I think, the top 10 sectionals for Toaster here anyway, and he's not far behind. So.
And he's a very lucky boy because whenever he does well, or if he doesn't even do well, he's surrounded by women coddling him.
Yeah. He loves it, absolutely loves it. He's a charmer. And my little daughter Beatrice absolutely loves him. So she's given him a kiss before I left today and given him a bit of luck. So, yeah, he's run brilliant.
Oh, he's done really well. Lovely talking to you. And did you want to let's finish off with this little special message to Beatrice then?
Yeah. Oh, Maverick, your Maverick's won tonight, B. Night-night.
Lovely. Thank you.
They'll be too giddy to go to sleep now. Keyfield Maverick has won our penultimate heat of round 2. Beats New in Benny and Coolio Gold. 28.93 the win time. 7-2 the winner. 3-1 for second and 11-10 favourite in third. Well, we are Gone to the Dogs live. If you have just tuned in or if you've been with us all night, we've brought you this programme in association with Bet Goodwin. You can get 50% back on first day losses up to a £25 free bet. So do have a look at that if you are a new customer to Bet Goodwin. And our thanks to them for sponsoring the show, certainly for the first couple of rounds and next week as well. So thank you to Bet Goodwin.
Racing up towards the first bend, Castle Ivy Mick, also Lartigue Note. Lartigue Note shows the best early, goes on now with Castle Ivy Mick. There's been some bumping there involving early vocation. Also badly hampered was Kilcannon Bullet as they go down the far side, and Lartigue Note shot clear now. Castle, 8 lengths clear. Castle Ivy Mick in second as they go round the second last bend. No catching Joe McKenna's Flying Machine. Lartigue Note is well clear. After these comes Castle Ivy Mick. Kilcannon Bullets run on very well after that first bend bump. But Lartigue Note is all Lartigue Note. Wins it easily. Kilcannon Bullet just gets up for second. Castle Ivy Mick was back in third. And it looked to me it was Early Vocation, Couloudine Style and Cat's Rock Rocket filling up the minor honours for this year's Derby. And Lartigue Note winning it well for Joe McKenna.
That was back in 1989, really taking a trip down memory lane this evening. Right, we're going to head back to Jason. He's found the band who are performing after the draw.
Thank you, Danny. That's my violin. Lofty.
Yeah.
How's it going, my friend?
Well, I did tell her before, did I sing along Molly? So basically that was the key to the night. Once she won, there was an uphill climb in it where we were going to reach the top, you know. It's been like me trying to climb one of them big mountains in the Tour de France. So we weren't going to make it to the top, you know, so I got off and pushed and probably still wouldn't have made it. So Keithfield Maverick there, we laid that in a few multiples as well, just for the double whammy. So, yeah, but never mind. We're only bookmakers, so only a bit of fun, isn't it? We're here again next week and we might get a winner big and a 6-1 to get out of it.
And Lofty will be releasing some inspirational tapes available on Amazon. Thanks, Lofty. Now, there is, of course, a band playing tonight, and it's Wildwood, and I've got lead singer here, Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hi, how you doing?
Very well. Now, Wildwood, tell me, you're not named after the Wind in the Willows, Wildwood?
No, unfortunately not. We love a bit of Paul Weller here in Wildwood and in our band. So, yeah, we're Britpop stuff, soft rock, all that sort of good stuff. So, yeah, it's really looking forward to it tonight.
And do you know what? I had a word with Chris, and you said, you know, all the good stuff from like the 90s?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a 90s Britpop kid,
yeah.
So, yeah, all that sort of good stuff.
I actually go back a little bit further than that. But let's get
I don't believe it.
And you're from Nottingham?
From Nottingham, yeah, all four of us from Nottingham. And it's our first time playing here as the lineup with the four of us, so we're really looking forward to it, yeah.
Oh, but right now, it's always important what song you start with. What song do you start with?
Wow, All Right Now by Free.
Oh, classic. Well, that's 70s.
Well, that's okay. We can do that. Is that more your thing?
Can you just finish this off with an All Right Now? Into the camera. Come on, do your stuff. All right now.
All right now. Let's see. Come on.
I'll beat that. All right now, baby, we're all right now.
Let me hear you.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you.
I think they might have replaced their lead singer with Jason tonight.
Well, I hope they haven't been scared off.
That was cracking, to be fair. I could not sing on TV. There's absolutely no chance.
I'm not sure Jason could, but he gave it a go.
Unbelievable. There's just no way. I mean, I have to have at least 2 Prosecco's to do karaoke, never mind singing on TV. No chance. Right, we've got our final heat of the night coming up shortly. It is the 9:15 Heat 16. I can't wait for this.
This is a proper race. Let's just, before we say anything, this is a proper race.
Cannot wait. I really can't wait for this. Fay Point Harvey 13-2, 2 Romeo Steel 14s, 3 JT Craze 7s, Droopy's Prefects in 433s, 5 is Cheap Sandwiches at 8-13, and 6 Boyle Sports Bob at 9-2. Now, the one for me that you cannot knock out of the frame will be Boyle Sports Bob. I think he's going to qualify. He's got that racing brain that you can see from last week. I mean, he doesn't trap particularly brilliantly. He kind of falls away as well. He's more of a staying on Greyhound anyway. He gets a few little bits of trouble, but you just see the way he thinks through a race, and especially in the closing stages, he doesn't know whether to go inside, outside, finds his gap, wins.
I think Fabulous Sonique in 2 here eventually mastered, I think it was Droopy's Metaphor, and then gets absolutely blindsided by such a brilliant piece of tracking from Boyle Sports Bob.
He is a greyhound that we know, you know, he's runner-up last year, he was 5th in the Irish Derby. He is a dog that we know can go deep in these competitions, and I just can't see him out of the front 3. I don't know about you.
I think this is a race that could be run in a number of different ways. I think maybe the grounder might hold the key to it. It's actually Romeo Steel, who I think will be very vulnerable in the later stage. I think Patrick Jansen, his trainer, said that. But if he makes one of his rare breaks, because he tends to miss the break and really tear to the bend, he could stretch the field, or certainly take Cheap Sandwiches and stretch the rest of the field, which will give much more racing room for the stronger dogs. If he misses the break and tears to the bend, it could get very, very messy. So that is, I think, the big imponderable about this race. I think Boyle Sports Bob kennelmate JT Craze, who was actually my fancy for the competition last year. Turned out that he's really more of a staying type. Now, he had to work really hard in the heats, but again, the form looks so much better now because Droopy's Bookham won really well last night. Can JT Craze get a run? Well, he's going to have the fast-up Romeo Steele to contend with. I just think that Cheap Sandwiches is not going to be phased if Romeo Steele leads him and is also capable of getting it right and being up there on the outside straight away himself. That's why I think Cheap Sandwiches will take the beating.
Yeah.
But we said of the 3 Holland Hot Pots that we thought that Cheap Sandwiches was the one that we'd all back. Well, the other 2 have won in great style. So the pressure's on now for him to keep up for the kennel.
Fingers crossed he does, because I remember Joe and I just sitting in the studio last week and we were watching this race and we both just looked at each other and went, oh, he's a proper dog. You know, you get competition dogs and real superstars, and I think he stays every yard of this 500. I think he's a real nice sort. And of course, he was only a length behind the Diamond in the Irish Derby.
He absolutely was. We haven't yet even got round to mentioning Fair Point Harvey, who, of course, rallied to beat Romeo Steele in the first round and go back a year, was a juvenile winner here. You know, it really is a fantastic race. And Droopy's Prefect, I think may have been a little bit fortunate to win his heat. It was my nap last week, and I'll be honest with you, I think I may have got a bit lucky because Dark Madam, of course, unfortunately, had to get withdrawn afterwards. But he's a good dog as well.
Track 1, Fair Point Harvey reached the second round of both the English and Irish 2024 derbies. Picked off Romeo Steele last week and drawn the same way round today. Romeo Steele in 2, eclipsed third, led early last week but was beaten fair and square by Fair Point Harvey last week. JT Craze, Easter Cup semi-finalist, beat Bookham last week, who won last night and franked the form in a good time and liked Bookham last night. Droopy's Prefect, 3-time Cat 1 semi-finalist, won well despite an early crowd last week. May have been a little bit fortunate, as JK says. That's won by a head last week. Checking out the starter there. Track 5, Cheap Sandwiches, only held a length by Diamond at Shelbourne. Won well on slow ground last week in a 28.91, 28.71 calculated, and there is 6, Boyle Sports Bob. A runner-up last year, 5th in the Irish Derby. He's just a competition dog who, for me, is the epitome of a racing greyhound. I think he's absolutely fabulous. I am with Cheap Sandwiches here. I think he's just going to be away and gone. I think Boyle Sports Bob's going to have to make up the numbers in second. But if it doesn't quite go to plan for Cheap Sandwiches, then I do think Boyle Sports Bob is a serious machine on the outside. And like I say, I can't see him not qualifying. I'm not sure who my third qualifier would be. I might have to go for JT Craze. Like you say, Bookham franked the form last night, so potentially could go well.
I mean, I'd probably put up JT Craze for the forecast, but the massive rider is, I think the real key to this race is how does Romeo Steele come out of the traps, because we know he's going to tear to the bend.
This is a fascinating race. I can't wait for this one. 8 to 11 now for Cheap Sandwiches. I was saying before, William Hill were doing updated or in-play trading on the outright book, and they went 5-2 from 7-2 for Bocco's Diamond after his display. So not heard anything else tonight. Well, since then, Bombay Pat was 8s from 10s and Sole Mio 28s from 33s, but that's the big market move.
We are also getting a bit of a logjam of wide seeds. So the theory that there were, you know, potentially all going to be getting trap 6s, I'm not quite sure how many we've got through, but, you know, it may be that some of them don't get the 6 box that they were expecting till the later stages.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, this draw. So hopefully I please everyone.
What is good is that I think over the competition, I don't think we can have too many complaints about it being a level playing field.
No.
I think by and large, the best greyhounds have won the races wherever they've been drawn.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, last night we had a few saying that maybe the outside of the track was running a little bit quicker because we had 5s and 6s winning quite a lot. But then, obviously, when the fancy dogs were then drawn inside, we went quite 5 wide qualifiers.
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
what I've heard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
That's
We've got
not
8
too bad
hits.
then, yeah.
So what have we got in this race? 2 wides, so we could have 7.
Good. Of course, we are going to lose an Irish greyhound here. Got 4 in this one. It really doesn't matter, though, when you look at the numbers now, because the quality of the Irish Challenge is just incredible.
Don't, honestly. Bocco's Diamond obviously topping that as well. Just had a come on 5, I'll be on steak next week, not sandwiches, lol. So keep them coming. Comments on the YouTube channel. We'll be having that going forwards as well. So if you're not already a subscriber, if you don't subscribe, you can't comment on the show and tell us who you've backed, not backed, you know, what you think of the show, whatever. So do make sure you subscribe, and you won't miss an episode or any of the podcasts or whatever that we do as well if you do subscribe to the show. Right, the jackets are coming off. I have been waiting patiently for this race all week, and I cannot wait to see Cheap Sandwiches again beat Boyle Sports Bob in second and JT Craze for third. That is what's going to happen.
Do we even need to run it? You've told us what's going to happen.
If only it was that easy, JK. I'd be a millionaire. No, I am hopeless. We all know that. So they are about to load for the final heat of round 2. Don't forget, stick around after this heat because we will be showing you the draw live here on Gone to the Dogs as well. Saver on the 4 dog at 50s each way. He's 100 to 1 now. Trap 4 here. Droopy's Prefect. You never know, there could be a boil over. I know Khan and Lofty would be very happy if there was, but the last ones are about to be popped in. Clarkey, very busy boy, down at the start here at Toaster. It's time for the final heat of round 2.
Just a bit checked over by the starter, and the hare is on the move. Hare runs. And we're away and racing, and Fay Point Harvey has took a flyer from the boxes. Cheap Sandwiches is pacing up to come through and challenge now. Just in behind these comes Romeo Steele, but it's Cheap Sandwiches who sails on by and hits the front coming out the second turn. Cheap Sandwiches from Romeo Steele on the outside of Fay Point Harvey. Then in behind these comes JT Craze. And they're the only quartet in shot as they swing for home now. Is Cheap Sandwiches from Fay Point Harvey. Cheap Sandwiches is got to win 5-1 and 3 the order. It's a clean sweep for the Irish, and it's a 1-2 for Graham Holland.
That man, Graham Holland again. Cheap Sandwiches has won, beats Fay Point Harvey, who corrects out the boxes, and JT Craze has finished third. Droopy's Prefect, Boyle Sports Bob, they've taken each other out down the back, but what a start from Harvey.
Yeah, that changed the dynamic of the race. There you can see, as expected, Trap 2, Romeo Steele tears to the bend and showed fantastic middle pace, to be fair. But I think the thing you take out of this race is the way that Cheap Sandwich drove into the back straight to take command. He was set a real hard task there, and he's passed that test with flying colours. You're absolutely right. Droopy's Prefect and particularly Boyle Sports Bob were knocked out of any possible contention. But mark up Cheap Sandwiches there. He was challenged, and he's passed that challenge.
I think he is a very well-balanced greyhound, Cheap Sandwiches, and I remember speaking to Jim Cremin ages ago, and he said, you know, that's the key to a good racing greyhound, is the balance around the bends, and he's got it in spades.
He has, and looking there, there didn't seem to be any real obvious deviations on the run to the first bend. That is some start from Fay Point Harvey, and from a box in Trap 1 that you don't often see dogs absolutely flash out of.
28.65.
That's a great run, last race of the night.
Last race of the night, he's had to battle for it off the bend. He's gone a wider route than quite a few others because he's in box 5. I think that's a proper run. I very much like this greyhound. Always thought he was going to win this race. You know, we said at the top of the show, didn't we, JK? He was the short price favourite that we were not going to take on because he was the one we both thought he's nailed on, really. What a run.
What a run. And what a night's racing. It has not let us down.
Oh, no, definitely not. Superb. Bocco's Diamonds won. Bombay Pat's won. Cheap Sandwiches has won.
Kevin's Rockets qualified.
Kevin's Rockets qualified. Sing Along Molly's won. Oh, just what a night. What a night. I mean, from start to finish, it's absolutely zoomed by as well. And all smiles once again. I mean, everybody's going to be sick of hearing from the Graham Holland team.
Never.
No, definitely not. So I'll be fascinated to read Rachel's blog actually this week to see how everybody comes out of their races and what they think of the draw and what's going to happen next week as well. So if you haven't read Rachel's blog, she's been doing one for Greyhound Racing and Greyhound News UK. So have a look at that on the website. Oh, the lights have come on.
Let there be lights.
On cheap sandwiches. I mean, he's one of those greyhounds that's not named for a Derby win.
No, do you know what? I was actually thinking that earlier. Normally, you don't really expect greyhounds with, shall we say, unique names to be champions, but he could just buck the trend.
Agreed. Right, let's go to Jason.
What a performance that was by Cheap Sandwiches. So we must say we do hope Ball Sports Bob will be okay. But I'm going to come to Graham. We knew how good Cheap Sandwiches was coming into this, but talk about rubber stamping it.
Hey, look, he's a very nice dog. He ran very well during the Irish Derby, and look, he's just a nice greyhound, if you know what I mean. He does what it says on the tin, like, he's a good dog.
Where does the name come from?
We don't really know, to be honest with you. The lads who own him, there's a syndicate of them, and they went to Las Vegas, and they come back and they name their dog Cheap Sandwiches. So if they do come over, you have to ask them.
Do you know, usually I won't shy away from asking anything. But just generally, I know you've got we've got the draw coming up, but just generally, obviously gone very, very well tonight.
We've had a great night. To get the second as well qualified, he ran ever so well. Look, we couldn't ask for any more. Nicky and Rachel have been back at Jamie Kingsley's all week. They've done a fantastic job of looking after them. So all the credit must go to them this week.
Thanks, Graham, and just gets better from here.
Hopefully so. May the luck continue.
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
There is the result. Cheap Sandwiches 28.65, 4-6 favourite, beats Faye Point Harvey at 6-1. JT Craze through to next week at 9-2. That was our 16th and final heat of round 2 of the Star Sports and CRC English Greyhound Derby, and what a night we've had. So I think we should relive all of the first 7 heats of this evening.
Lids rise and off and racing, and a good start on the inside from Pain Barrier, but it's the early dash from Solomio to try and get to the front, and he does so. Solomio now goes on. This has left Solomio in supreme isolation, and the Irish Raider is going to go on and score nicely in the end. Solomio wins from 4 Righty and 6 Ginger Shelby, qualifies back in 3rd.
Jason ran well, yeah, I'm delighted with him, you know. Beautiful evening here, it's a great crowd, a great atmosphere. So I'm delighted.
And they're off and racing, and a bullet break from Prince Nassim, but the early zip from Bombay Pat to wrestle the lead into the first turn and go on now. Bombay Pat, the hot favourite, has a 2-length lead. As they turn for the judge now, is Bombay Pat with this 3-length cushion over Prince Nassim, who's run an absolute burster back in 2nd. And 3rd spot is going to go to the fast finishing One Slick Jamie back in 3rd. It was a 6-4-1 order in Heat 10. Gates lift off and racing, and 4 gets a flashy break, and it's Bubbly Charger that leads into the turn in front of 6 Croker's Planet, who just spins wide there. He'll try and stay on for a qualifying spot, but no doubt about the winner. Bubbly Charger's going to go on and win it nicely. 4, 1 and 3 the order, no better feeling. And Barefoot on Fire, who just didn't really get the same sort of break as he did last week, but he has qualified safely, all importantly back in 3rd.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like my first Derby winner, really, like in a heat. Yeah, chuffed.
They're off and racing, and a flashy break from Hopes and Palumpa, but better early zip from Droopy's Metaphor to lead into the turn. And Sing Along Molly has swamped the field and gone on. Droopy's Metaphor's got shuffled back through the pack, and Sing Along Molly is booted clear of Hopes and Palumpa, who's in 2nd spot, and 3rd is Indian Bonnie. A 6-2-5 order.
She's a decent bitch, and she ran a cracker there. I was just hoping she wouldn't get no trouble on the first bend, and she got round, and yeah, she ran a cracker.
lovely double.
Would you say not easy, but eze?
Perfect way of saying it.
Perfect football team, perfect Greyhound, Bocco's Diamond.
Gates lift and off and racing, and Droopy's Trade has flashed out the boxes ahead of Glory Lord into the turn, who just cut across Romeo Empire there. Tricky Wiggles and Savannah Marapi is the back marker, but Droopy's Trade is going to see it out well here. Droopy's Trade wins it, with Glory Lord qualifying back in third. It's a 3-2-4 order.
Done a cracker, you know, he's getting the hang of the traps now. He come out well, and he made the bend, and down the backside he showed a lot of gears.
Air approaches. Lids rise off and racing, and 5 Keyfield Maverick gets the best break and will lead into the turn. Chased by New In Benny, who just tried to find a way of pass and just caught the heels there. And 1 Coolio Gold is now back in third and will come home alone here. New In Benny, yes sir, very impressive indeed. It was a 5-6-1 order with New In Benny and Coolio Gold back in behind.
And here are tonight's winners, and we can see Solo Mio, 6-4 favourite, took our first, and what a performance that was for Peter Cronin. Bombay Pat did what was expected, 7-2 on favourite. Wild cheers aplenty for Bubbly Charger at 11-4, and bookies bashed and bashed after Sing Along Molly won at 5-4. The brilliant Imperious Bocco's Diamond, I think we might be mentioning a little more about 7-2 on, and Droopy's Trade impressive for Pat Janssens at 5-2. Keyfield Maverick did it from the front at 7-2, and our final winner of the second round was Cheap Sandwiches, class personified, 6-4 on favourite. Well, I'm quite literally in the hot seat, actually. I don't know what Danny was doing here. I don't want to know. Now, she's going to be, if you like, comparing the draw for the third round, and they'll be getting to that shortly. But we'll have a little retrospective on what we've just seen. JK, as ever, you go into tonight like tonight, you don't know what you're going to get. You hope it will be special, and it certainly was.
I thought it was going to be special, and it fulfilled every expectation. The Irish strength in depth is truly frightening. The trap draw is going to be crucial. Obviously, there's no guarding of owners now, so that will, throw up some potential clashes. The draw is going to be, I mean, we could get some stellar clashes in the next round.
We really could, but it's a retrospective. You're going forward now, Jet. I remember you always used to be like this. What was your highlight of tonight?
I think Bocco's Diamond arriving on the scene and doing what everyone expected him to do. Some people were just starting to question him a little bit, his ability around the track. Well, his trials before the competition told you he handled the track. I thought he'd actually had 2 very good runs, one in defeating the Juvenile, where he clearly needed the run but still ran a blinder, and he was given a hard race in the first round. Tonight, it's nearly the perfect performance. It's a quite stunning run. I mean, look at the distance there. Kevin's Rocket's what, 6-8 lengths behind, and then you've got another 4 lengths back to the third place runner, and he just kept going and going. The only surprise was, and you did bring it up in the interview, given the track had been watered beforehand, I thought the track record might have gone.
Yes, maybe next week, maybe further down the line, but it really was a sparkling performance. And for Graham Box and Bev Lockhead, well, what a day they've
had worse days, haven't they?
They've had worse days. Mind you, the horrid kit, Crystal Palace kit, but anyway, we won't go into that. For me, I always try and go a little left field, and Bubbly Charger. Now, as I've said actually in previous rounds, there probably were more impressive performances. Let's be honest, we've just seen one. Steve Fluen couldn't be here tonight. It was his daughter's birthday party, but they just bring so much collectively to the party, and we can have a look at the performance now. And it's really the marrying of 2 great Greyhound institutions, because you've got the Champagne Club, and then you've got the Matthews, who come over, support Toaster, have lots of winners, like to have a little punt as well, and really did hear the crowd going wild when Bubbly Charger hit the front here, and you could just see that no better feelings in second position, but as soon as Bubbly Charger rounded that final turn, stayed on stoutly enough to go on and win. So for a variety of reasons, that would be my highlight of the night.
And look, it was a highlight for me as well, being back from big prices. Looked as though the middle draw would suit him. and it certainly did. And as was said at the interview, a greyhound who didn't start his career until the Kirby Memorial, how much improvement has he got to come?
Exactly. I've got to mention, though, because I know you wouldn't... You're far too modest, JK. What does it feel like to have a runner in the third round?
It's amazing, Jason. Genuinely, it's absolutely amazing. The greyhound brought us a bit of fun. He's in the third round of the Derby. He'd probably have to get his eyes tested to see if he can keep Bocco's diamond in view, but that doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Very much like the gentleman interviewed from part of the Champagne Club syndicate, his first winner in a Greyhound Derby. You know, qualifying is like winning any other race. It's just an amazing achievement.
Yeah, and we'll obviously talk about it more so after the draw, but looking forward to next week, as is oft mentioned, the night we will definitely see the Derby winner.
Yeah, we will, and I think we'll start to really see the greyhounds come to the fore in terms of they're going to have to bring their A game. You know, we still haven't really had any massive boilovers, have we?
I think 6-1 still is the biggest price. I think that's happened on a couple of occasions in the first round. No track record this evening at Toaster, but there certainly was at Monmore for the Golden Jacket. We managed to bring that to you live, and we can enjoy it once more.
Yeah, it was an amazing performance by Monge's Wild in terms of he was taken so deep into the race, and we were a little bit taken aback when we heard the winning time. But actually, what ended up happening was it was a perfect setup race because the pacemaker lasted longer than was probably expected to be the case. I was hoping that Trafford would hold on for second, having put up the forecast, but unfortunately, Bombay Nutty in third at the moment got there. But Monge's Wild, what, one defeat in, is it 13 British starts now? We'll come back, I'm sure, for the Durando Marathon, and it's a brave man who thinks he won't be winning that as well.
Yeah, I think that was the 8th winning race on the trot as well. As you say, just the one defeat, and we'll be here for the Durando. It's become something of an institution over the last few years. Also, Durando's been around for a long while, that we've had a short price favourite in it. Obviously, Space Jet most recently. Certainly, one of the victories was very, very short. We're going to have that again, but the crowd on Derby night, they don't seem to mind, do they?
No, I don't think they do, and it's such a brilliant spectacle. Especially marathons tend to unwind on the second lap almost. It's almost like watching a handicap, but it's a level break, because there'll be some greyhounds who will stretch the field along, and as they start to come to the end of their tether, the real stamina will kick in. And Monge's Wild has just proven an absolute unbelievable greyhound, because he's capable, it seems, of winning over all distances.
And that's another thing, actually, whilst we're looking at the Derby, those that have gone out, obviously you're going to have the plate, there'll be other competitions as well. We had it obviously last year. The likes of Queen Joni, for instance, went out of the first round, won on Derby final night, certainly wasn't alone in doing that. So the hard-headed betting heads will already be looking ahead, won't they?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you come to Toaster for the Derby Festival, you are looking at maybe Bocco's Diamonds connections or not, and maybe you know, Graham Holland's team maybe not in total. But you're looking at options. You know that there are going to be so many races that you can run in over the 5-6 week period.
And of course, a better example would have been Wiki Ned, because Wiki Ned went out the first round last year, came back, won Derby final night. I don't know Jimmy's plans, but you think that's entirely feasible?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what's on in terms of puppy races, but you'd imagine we'll probably see Headford Asher again, who was a first-round casualty, almost doing the Wiki Ned route, you know. So we'll see so many greyhounds coming back. That's the great thing.
Brilliant, JK. Thank you very much for that. But Danny has made her way to, I believe, the restaurant for the third round draw, where she'll be doing comparing. Always very, very exciting for connections and punters alike. Let's go to the third round draw.
Thanks very much indeed, Jason. Yes, we are here in the Emperor Suite for the third round draw. We have 29 middles, 29 railers, 4 middles and 15 wides. You would not know how many times I have practiced that. So, Kim, let's get going. So as we spin it around, we've got all the railers in the drum at the moment. Of course, the first one out will be going into Trap 1, Heat 1 of the third round. But who is it? It is Sunnyside Broxy. So Sunnyside Broxy draws trap 1, heat 1 for round 3. Here we go again. Billy Brennan with the best job in the house. Arthur Job in trap 1 in heat 2. So Arthur Job, trap 1, heat 2, round 3. No Better Feeling is going into trap 1 in heat number 3, where he was tonight. Cracking run. No Better Feeling in trap 1, heat 3. JT Craze is drawn in heat 4, trap 1. Of course, we're going through the railers first, then we'll go to the middles. There's only 4 of those, and then on to the wide seeds. Prince Nazim gets the red jacket in heat number 5. I think I've just heard an oh no from the back of the room. But Prince Nazim in trap 1, heat 5. Droopy's Trade gets trap 1 in heat number 6. So Droopy's Trade, trap 1, heat 6. Only 2 more red jackets to fill. The next one, Faye Point Harvey, cracked out tonight. Can he do it again? From the red jacket. Heat number 7, Faye Point Harvey, trap 1. And in the final heat next week, we've got Fabulous Sonique, who will be wearing the red jacket. Right, we're going to have a spin of the drum, mix them all up once again, and draw our blue jackets for round 3. What have we got, Kim? Righty goes into heat 1, trap 2. You know, he won on our very first show on Gone to the Dogs back in September last year. Droopy's Plunge has drawn the blue jacket once again. He goes in heat 2 next week. So Droopy's Plunge in the 2 needs a better start next week. Barefoot on Fire was in trap 3 tonight. He's in trap 2 next week in heat 3. Joins No Better Feeling. Droopy's Bookham. He was impressive yesterday. He goes into heat 4 in trap 2. Joins JT Craze. What about heat 5? We've got Droopy's Aladdin. So Droopy's Aladdin, the impressive pup who took the scalp of Proper Heiress in round 1. He joins Prince Nazim in heat 5. Teddy, the lovable girl, she was cracking yesterday. She goes into heat 6 in trap 2. Joins Droopy's Trade. Romeo Empire. He's drawn the blue jacket, joining Faye Point Harvey in heat number 7. Heat 8, we've got Barntick Bear, the track record holder, goes into the blue for the final heat in round 3. Let's spin it again, Kim. Here we go, getting a mix up. This time, the white jackets. And the first one, Racket Hall Brute. In heat 1, joins Righty and Sunnyside Broxy. Heat 2, Glory Lord. He goes in and joins Droopy's Plunge and Arthur Job in heat 2. Another railer coming through is Da-La-Dee-Da. He's in heat 3, trap 3, the champion. Oof, early on in the card as well. Heat number 4, we've got Saleka's Sennen, who goes and joins Droopy's Bookham and JT Craze. Again, of course, donning the white. Heat 5, Romeo Tomcat. Draws trap 3 against Droopy's Aladdin and Prince Nazim in heat 5. That's it, Jack. He goes into the white jacket heat 6. Droopy's Trade and Teddy lining him against. I think Billy's getting flustered. He's told me to slow down. So sorry, Billy. Get your steps in. Next one is Coolio Gold in heat number 7. Coolio Gold, trap 3, joins Faye Point Harvey and Romeo Empire. I'm running away after this. Sole Mio, he's in heat 8, joins Bartic Bear and Fabulous Sonique, again in the white jacket. Here we go, spinning it again. I think we've got 5 railers left, so they will fill the first 5 heats in trap 4. First one out, One Slick Jamie. Joins Sunnyside Broxy, Righty, and Racket Hall Brute. One Slick Jamie. Bubbly Charger. He's in Heat 2. In against Arthur Job, Droopy's Plunge, Glory Lord. Hopes Oompa Loompa, Heat 3. In against the reigning champ, Delardi Dar, Barefoot on Fire, and No Better Feeling. Kevin's Rocket. I've had JK on the show. He's got a qualifier. I don't know whether he'll be happy or not with that draw. We'll find out after this. But Kevin's Rocket joins Slaker's Tenon, Droopy's Bookham and JT Craze. Bay Point Susie is our last railer out the drum and joins Romeo Tomcat, Droopy's Aladdin and Prince Nazim. Right, we're on to the middles. We've only got 4 middle seeds. So they will fill trap 4 in heats 6, 7 and 8. And heat 1 will have a middle in trap 5. We'll just stick him in the drum, give him a whiz around. And then we'll be on to the wide seeds. Who's going to get their best draw? Spinning the drum round for the 3rd round draw. This will be an easier job. First one. Indian Bonnie goes into trap 4, heat 6. Heat 8, apologies. So heat 8, trap 4. Oh, we're going backwards. Okay. Vagar, heat 7. Just checking. Heat 7. Heat 7, trap 4, Vagar in against Fay Point Harvey, Romeo Empire and Coolio Gold. You can tell I've done this before. Flashing Fender goes into heat 6, trap 4. Joins That's It, Jack, Teddy and Droopy's Trade. And then heat 5 will have our remaining middle seed. It is, of course, Keyfill Maverick, who was impressive tonight. Right, we're on to the wides. We have 15 wides. I just had to do a quick count because I'd forgotten. I know I'd practiced it many, many times, but it's hotting up. It's round 3 of the Greyhound Derby. Of course, you can catch the show on Gone to the Dogs Live next Saturday evening. We'll be doing the preview at 4. And then the show will start round about the 6:45. Don't take my word for it just yet, though. This is complicated. Trap 6, heat 1. We're drawing next. Slick Sentinel. Star Sport's biggest loser in the anti-post book. Slick Sentinel. Goes in heat 1, trap 6. Bombay Pat, who's impressed in both rounds. He's also drawn the stripes in heat 2. Heat 3, we've got March on Freddie. He put the doubters to bed, I think, this round. And he's in heat 3, joining No Better Feeling, Barefoot on Fire, Delardi-Dar and Hopes Oompa Loompa. Cheap Sandwiches, best named dog in the competition. He goes into heat number 4 in the stripes. He was in box 5 tonight and he did the business. Ballymac Tibet, impressive puppy, goes into heat 5, trap 6. So we've got a full heat 5 with Prince Nazim, Droopy's Aladdin, Romeo Tomcat, Fay Point Susie, Keyfill Maverick and Ballymac Tibet. Heat 6, Hello Diego, dons the stripes. He's a very strong in a finish. What about heat number 7? Deliveroo in the stripes once again. Tom Halebron. Chuffed that he got through yesterday. And heat number 8, Churchfield Sid. Yes, he's got trap 6, heat 8. Superb for the old boy. Right, we're spinning the drum and we're going to trap 5, heat 1 next. As we draw the final few Greyhounds out of the drum. New in Benny draws the orange jacket in heat 1. So heat 1 is Sunnyside Broxy, Righty, Racket Hall Brute, One Slick Jamie, New in Benny and Slick Sentinel. Heat 2, Ginger's Shelby. So Ginger's Shelby joins Arthur Job, Droopy's Plunge, Glory Lord, Bubbly Charger and Bombay Pat. Heat 3, we have Ballinabola Joe. Hello. Oh, yes. This is what we love. Ballinabola Joe joins No Better Feeling, Barefoot on Fire, Delardi-Dar, Hopes Oompa Loompa, and March on Freddie. Bocco's Diamond. Ooh, heat 4. JT Craze, Droopy's Bookham, Saleka's Sennen, Kevin's Rocket, Bocco's Diamond and Cheap Sandwiches. The 1-2 from the Irish Derby. Tiffield Tarquin, who's impressed in both rounds, goes into Heat 6 in Trap 5. That means Droopy's Trade, Teddy, That's It Jack, Flashing Fender and Hello Diego make up Heat 6. Sing Along Molly, she impressed tonight. She goes into Heat 7 with Fay Point Harvey, Romeo Empire, Coolio Gold, Vagar and Deliveroo. And Heat 8, of course, sees Dynamic Force join the party with Fabulous Sonique, Barntic Bear, Sole Mio, Indian Bonnie and Churchfield Sid. That is the draw for round 3. Oh, I can't wait already.
Oh, brilliant, Danny. Thanks so much for that. And well, you've done all right. Nice, easy heat for you.
Yeah, not a problem. Just finishing the set of the Graham Holland big hitters. Bombay Pat, but just to make it a bit more sporty, stick Bocco's Diamond in there as well. Well,
I'm not just saying it because you're here, but that is obviously the heat of the round.
It really is the heat of the round. I mean, JT Craze in there as well. It's a massive heavyweight clash, isn't it? I mean, that really are serious greyhounds in that race. But I think all the way through, there were a definite mixture of heats. We were looked at some heats, we thought they were winnable. And I certainly don't think anyone would complain about being in heat number 1.
No, they won't, and even heat number 2, I know you've got Bombay Pat in there, but if you're looking to qualify, the others will all feel they've got some sort of a chance.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, obviously, Droopy's Plunge would be a big, strong runner in that one as well. Heat 3, obviously, we've got the reigning champion, Deladi Dar, but another clash with Ballinabola Joe, and we've got March on Freddie, who ran so well, Barefoot on Fire. That's a strong heat. We're going to lose a big name there.
And we could lose a big name in Heat 4 as well. Cheap Sandwiches and Bocco's Diamond together. Obviously, JT Craze in Trap 1, Droopy's Bookham, Saleka's Senan, who is fancied, and the mighty Kevin's Rocket.
Well, look, I've mentioned the 2 superstars on the outside. I also just want to say that I said that Kim Sanzani was off the Christmas card list last year. I don't know what list I'm throwing her off this week, but it's a big one.
I can imagine that. But equally for Graham Holland, in all seriousness, not great.
Possibly not great, but that's going to happen as you go deep in a derby.
Fair point. Right, moving on then to Heat 5, and fair bit of pace in the race.
There is. I don't think that Connections to Droopy's Aladdin will be too disappointed in that draw. Probably just hope for a bit better going.
And Heat 6, and obviously Tiffield Tarquin has done very well, winning 2 rounds thus far.
And Droopy's Trade looked a massive improver tonight.
Yeah, and Teddy, of course, Belinda Green still, she's had a Derby final, still hasn't won a heat of the Derby. Wow. Moving on then to Heat 7. This is an intriguing one.
Well, it is an intriguing one. Obviously, you've got Fay Point Harvey, who absolutely catapulted out there. Coolio Gold, I thought, ran really well to qualify, having not led, but Sing Along Molly, she was superb.
Yeah, she really was. Bash those bookmakers. The wonderful Churchfield Sid, there hasn't been a bigger cheer than for him, but Dynamic Force was very good. Sole Mio in the first race today.
And don't to mention the track record holder in Trap 2.
Absolutely. So it's all come together, and as we'd expect, every heat is different and brings, if you like, different elements of interest.
It does, and look, everyone is in a derby for different reasons. I mean, there are people who come into it with massive expectations of winning it. There are people who are just enjoying the ride. Once you've got to the last 48, you've got to the night where every runner is running for the first time. It's a massive achievement. I think next week will be the best night's racing that we've seen at Toaster for a very, very long time.
Brilliant, JK. It was sterling work by you tonight. I'll be honest, I haven't seen most of it, but I've been told to say that in my ear.
That's fine. The fiver's coming your way afterwards.
I need it. Right now, of course, we are looking forward to next week, the 3rd round. As we keep saying, you will see the Derby winner, and that's coming up at 6:45 next Saturday. Star Sports TRC Greyhound Derby Round 3. You do not want to miss that. But we've come to the end of tonight's programme. We've come to the end of the 2nd round. Thanks to JK once more. Brilliant work as ever from Danny. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.